the world of journalism. We have earned a reputation for being a publication that practices integrity, authenticity, and responsibility. For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
Aloha, everyone. I am Dame Doria Cordova, also have been known as DC. I am the CEO and owner of Accelerated Business Schools for Entrepreneurs and the Money and You program. And we are so excited today. We have a program with just amazing Money and You graduates from way back. I think as far back as 1980 to just probably a couple of months ago. So we've been around for 45 years, and Mo Rock, who is the CEO, owner of the Los Angeles Tribune, and our beautiful Ava Manuel, that's the editor, and our beautiful Alicia, who is constantly also part of the leadership team. We have put this together so that we can talk about money and leadership. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring up the first panel. We're going to have four different panels, and we're going to bring up the first one. So let's go ahead and bring everybody up, and let's say hello. Aloha, everyone. And thank you so much. And so, yay, as you can see, we got Ken Honda. And Ken Honda is one of all of them. They're all rock stars. And you see Ken Honda, Peter Swain from the UK. Well, Ken Honda from Japan, Peter Swain from the UK, Jessica Conti from Southern California, then Maria from Los Angeles and other places, Craig Doyle from Australia, Tamami from Japan, JB Owens. She is somewhere. I know she's somewhere in Canada. And then we have beautiful Jeremy Hoffman. Usually he is up in somewhere in the world. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with Ken Honda, who's going to spend a few minutes with us sharing about money and leadership. And then we're going to go to Jeremy, because Jeremy, he has this other appointment, so he's bilocating, and he's going to go a little bit first, and then we'll get all of us. All right. So Ken Honda, what say you about money and leadership?
Hello. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, DC, Doria, for inviting us. We come from all over the world, but we can be here together and talk about money and leadership. I attended Money and You and learned about money, and that was a life-changing experience for me. It's been a few years, but since then, I always think of money in two different forms. Is this my money or other people's money? Is it present money or future money? So when I'm asked to receive some money, I should not touch this because this is my future money. For example, I'm supposed to I'm a writer, so I sell books. So people just sometimes want to buy, and if they're not ready, I say, maybe come back next year. So if you are a CEO or in a leadership position, sometimes you wonder, I want to take this money. Should I take this money? Is this our money or not yet? So oftentimes we make mistakes imagining that this is our money, even though this is not ours. So that experience for 4 days really impacted me and transformed my relationship with money and also myself. So I'm writing a other book in the future too. So thank you so much for inspiring me.
Thank you so much. So as a leader, what would you say to your teams? What do you say to them about money to encourage them to be at the same level of deservability as you are?
So I always ask my staff, just make sure you receive only happy money. And happy money is that money that makes you smile. We receive money as a result of making everybody happy. Otherwise, we should not touch the money. So we have this 100% refund policy. So people sometimes cannot make it to my seminar. We got 600 people a few weeks ago. Some of them, got COVID and they couldn't make it. So we just contacted them and just make sure all the money was refunded. So that way, we just try to have integrity around money, and everybody, all the money in our bank account is smiling. That is something we all share in common.
Thank you so very much. Okay, all right. Jeremy Hoffman, what say you about money and leadership? And thank you for having taken us to Texas, to Dallas a couple of times, you and beautiful Jason Estes. What say you?
Yeah, it was beautiful. After listening to Ken, the word that was coming through was integrity. And right at the end, he mentioned the integrity. And if there was one key moment that I took away from Money and You, is that there can be integrity in making money, in applying these, practices and principles such as leverage. So how can we make more money with less effort, but how can we do it in a way that still feels good? And so for me, money is like an amplifier. If you're already maybe not the greatest person, I think money might amplify that. And if you're already a person who lives with authenticity and integrity, that it will amplify your ability to ripple out that change in the world, which is incredible to think about. And there's very few programs that I've gone through that really focus on the personal development of how you can be in integrity, how you can communicate effectively, how you can live in alignment with your values and plan strategically, but also welcomes making money. So from the money side, it taught the integrity and the ways in which we could amplify and be real with making money and real with the costs and the things in our lives that we're spending money on. And then from the leadership side, it provided such an incredible opportunity for us to step up as leaders, to communicate as leaders, to really rise as leaders. And when you pair those two things together, leadership, integrity, and making more money, it really ties into Bucky to truly impact the world in the way that we all want to. So Money and You is lots of beautiful lessons in all of those principles.
Thank you so much. And Jeremy, make sure that you go back out, and when you can come back, maybe we're going to be around for a couple of hours, and come back into our Facebook maybe feed, and be able to share about all of you guys, about all your product and services. But Jeremy, you're so committed to quantum physics and to also the best materials. You and Jason, thank you so much for the beautiful work that you're all doing. Aloha. And I know you're going to be leaving soon, and just towards the end, if you have time, come back in a couple of hours. We may be having an after party with as many as we can fit in here. All right. Thank you so much, Jeremy. All right. So why don't we go ahead and go with Peter Swain, because he may want to go to sleep, but he's in Doria time. So with Doria time, he will stay up until 6 a.m. So Peter Swain, what say you about money, leadership, and your experience? You're very successful. You've even been working about creating a bank to really support all these beautiful people that actually don't have access to the kind of financing. You also are very involved in AI, and you have a heart of gold. What say you about money and leadership?
Well, it's interesting. And well, first of all, thank you to everyone that's here. I can see the comments from Facebook and YouTube, and this is a great platform. And so to Jess and Jacqueline and everybody, hi, and thank you for being here. And what I say is, I think what I took away most from Money and You was the concept of integration. I've always been quite good at playing my own game, but never maybe so good at playing that game with other people, and seeing how your decisions or my decisions interact, like reflected back at me so quickly, gave me this really, really quick feedback on how others perceive things, which has then led to a new level of acceleration. But I'm going to take a wildly controversial view and say that I've spent the last year, Doria, trying not to be in integrity, which I think maybe sounds crazy, because integrity was my watchword. Integrity, integrity, integrity everywhere. And someone reflected to me recently that if you're playing a big game, you actually can't stay in integrity. You're always going to set targets that you can't necessarily hit. So the question is then, what are you going to do to stay in integrity with these big targets? And what I'd certainly been doing, if I'm being honest and vulnerable for everybody, was I was borrowing from other areas of my life. I was borrowing from my health. I was borrowing from my family. I was borrowing everywhere I could, so that if I said to someone, I'll do X, Y, Z, then I definitely did it. And to do that, I used other things in my life in order to sacrifice to do that. So my new goal is to restore integrity as quickly as possible versus the act of trying to stay in integrity at all times. Because if you're in integrity at all times, you're either playing smaller than you should be, or you're borrowing from other areas of your life in order to do it. And my question to myself, and therefore to everybody else, is what does your integrity to yourself look like? Integrity to others is actually quite easy and not actually necessarily as important as integrity to yourself. You know, last year I did 140 days abroad. I've got a beautiful family that love me and I love them. And I did 140 days away from them. Like, why? That was crazy. That's not happening this year. I've got a 9-year-old, 6-year-old that think I'm Superman. They'll soon discover I'm not. So whilst they think I'm Superman, I want to bathe in that. So it's a question, like, if you're in integrity to others, are you doing that at an expense to integrity to yourself? That would be the question. Because I think the more aligned you get, the easier your leadership becomes. And with that, the easier your access to money as a pass-through and conduit becomes as well.
Thank you. Wow. Wow. So listen, go ahead and comment. You know, if you, especially after you leave the stage, you can go to the Los Angeles Tribune. My favorite, of course, is Facebook, and you can put all kinds of comments and meet all kinds of beautiful people. We have people from around the world here. So thank you so much. JC got lost. JC is supposed to be here. If somebody can help me look for JC. Is she here? Thank you so much. Oh, I'm so excited. I don't know. Who wants to go next? Should we have Australia be represented? Craigie, you want to go next?
Yeah, that sounds
All
great.
right. Money and leadership.
Thank you.
And Eva, can we please leave them up until they are done speaking? Thank you. Thank you. We can leave them. Go ahead, Craig.
Well, good morning from Brisbane. And I think I saw Jeff Kamagami there somewhere. Hey, Jeff. Jeff and I were on a retreat to Antarctica. That's where we met Doria, and it was where I first learned about Money and You. And on that ship, we decided to have a look at this program and to see if we could bring it back to Australia. And of course, we went to San Diego and had an extraordinary time. And we were in, and we've been in ever since. So we lead the program down here in New Zealand and Australia. And it's really been an absolute privilege to be part of that. Often people speak about Money and You and how it affects them and their business. But when you attend the program, which is an experiential learning program, it impacts all areas of your life. And a few years ago, I was coaching my son's rugby team. And I think when we travel through life, it's right or wrong, good or bad, it's very clear. And there's winners and losers. Well, at Money and You, you get a new concept of winning. And it's something I take everywhere in my business, in my leadership style, and definitely in my family. And it's simply this. There's a winning team and there's a learning team. I know it might sound a bit unusual, but yes. And there's no emotion attached to learning. If you're losing, it can be very impactful. And so I taught our rugby team that there's a winning team and a learning team. And if we weren't winning and we didn't win that day, we'd spend some time looking at what we learnt, not spend time bathing in sadness and we could have done better. And of course, we're in the learning team because the outcome we want to produce is to win. And if you consider that in business, when you're not winning, you can go below the line, which is a place where there's no opportunity to learn. So responsibility is, again, another really key insight in Money and You, where when you start to take responsibility for everything in your life, that's where the opportunity is to learn. Now, if we go back to that little rugby team, while I was coaching them and talking about winning team and learning team, all the parents were really engaged as well. So it's interesting that when you start to be a stand for something new, that it can be engaging, and people got really engaged in this learning team conversation. And of course, once you become the winning team, how do you continue to win? Well, you continue to learn. And so we are all in the learning team, and being open and receptive as a leader, being prepared to listen to others rather than choose and make decisions on your own account does impact your leadership. And how well you lead really, in my view, determines how well you succeed. Thank you from Australia. This is Craig signing off. Back to you, Doria.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you to you and Rilby. Rilby will be on in about an hour. That's the other half. And thank you so much for that. And one of the things that I just wanted to share with all of you is that the part of why we wanted to do this was to also demonstrate to the world collaboration, people from all around the world, and not only people that put their money, their time and energy to continue with this work, but the work of Money and You is much higher than, for those that haven't attended, it's understanding that we really truly want to create an environment where it can work for 100% of humanity. And if you have a thought that is not possible, you definitely want to do Money and You, because it is possible. Since the early 70s, we have had more than enough on this planet to solve many of today's problems. So with that, we're going to go to Japan. Japan, this is our promoting partner from Japan. And I wanted for, of course, Ken and Tamami to be in the same stage together, because there's so many stories to say about Japan, particularly since I used to have a Japanese partner by the name of Kiyosaki. And it's so funny because Ken Honda looks a little bit like Robert. And every once in a while I go, oh my God, God gave me a whole new version of Kiyosaki in Ken Honda. They kind of look alike, especially in person. So with that, Tamami, you have been a leader. You bring these beautiful programs to Japan. You want to know Tamami. She's incredible.
Hi.
And she was brought to us by JC and the Globe team. So Tamami, what say you about money and leadership?
Yes, good morning, everyone. And yes, money and leadership, in terms of money and leadership, I was really not interested in both of them at all. First of all, leadership, I always felt leader is the most, how to say, they don't, in Japan especially, leader, there's nothing else. It's nothing to gain being a leader. That's what I felt when I was young. And it's been like up till 40 something. I was in this industry, means seminar industry, providing a lot of learning. But myself, I was not leadership was my theme or my interest. And but I established the company and I had employees, and all of a sudden I felt without leadership, without something I have to go break through, there's no more future. I couldn't manage the people and all that. So at that time, I just encountered Money and You, and I learned in the Money and You, and also I took the like ITP we call, and it's another advanced version of Money and You, and I learned the leadership there, and that was amazing. Now we are providing that course, the leadership course, presentation and leadership course, and actually yesterday I had a Zoom call with two of the graduate, and they've been just really passionately talking about that course, how it changed. It's not that promotion or anything, but they've been just talking like just really, really into them, and it really changed themselves. So they were really happy, and they talked about the result and everything. I just feel so proud, and just gave me a lot of energy. And maybe everybody knows that Japanese people are very nice, very compassionate, very supportive, and everything. They're good followers. But they need to be trained to be a leader, for sure. And that's what I'm doing.
Thank you.
And I'm so happy doing that. Thank you, Doria. But
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Yay. Domo arigato. All right. So let's go ahead and go to our beautiful JC Wee. JC Wee is one of our promoting partners from Malaysia, Singapore, right in Japan, brings in all these different countries. And I met JC when she was a very young girl, and now she's still a little bit older, but that's it. Almost 20 years. So what say you, JC, about money and leadership?
Thank you, Doria. My Money and You journey began over 20 years ago. And at that point in time, I would say I had a superpower, and that superpower is called invisibility. Nobody could see me, and I did not want to be seen. And when I went to Money and You shook me up. It woke me up, and it challenged me to level up. And it still does, still today. Every single time I come back to Money and You, I am surrounded by amazing friends who ask more of me than I do. I believe that the biggest thing for me when it comes to leadership is to train my listening. Because every time I get stopped, it is the voice inside my head that is actually stopping me, rather than the things that's happening around me. So it was really a practice for me to get very present to what's happening inside of me, because that is what is projecting outside of me. And what I noticed in Money and You was that it brought a lot of things in my blind spot, in my subconscious, to the surface. And I noticed that, yes, I want more money. I want more opportunities, but I was just pushing it away unconsciously. And that was what showed up for me in Money and You. And I finally decided, is this how I want to continue to live my life? I saw how I was setting myself up for failure. And in that moment, I get to see flashes of Money and You principles, right? We use flip charts, and those flip charts would just flash at me in those critical moments for me to make a very different and empowered decision. And that is, to me, what money and leadership is about. The universe will continue to challenge our commitments, to ask me, is this what I want? Am I on track or am I off track? And in those moments, what do I choose? And so for me, leadership is choosing in those moments, choosing whether I want to be in integrity or be out of integrity. And I have to live with the outcome. Is this the outcome that I want? Is this the outcome that I don't want? And if I don't want it, what can I do to change it? So I chose to show up. I chose when to show up, and also when not to show up. And I would also say one of the biggest things about being a leader is to do the inner work, to allow ourselves to rest when we need the rest and not feel guilty about it, because we do need to recharge. And at any moment, we can choose to be a generator, whether we want to generate more money, more love, more power in our lives, to empower more leaders. It's all about generating. So in my 20 years journey, I felt that, yes, passion is something that makes me feel fulfilled and feel that there's meaning. But what keeps me moving forward is commitment. And that's what money and leadership is to me. I'm complete. Back to you.
Thank you so much. So we're going to be nearing, we have about 7 minutes and we have some wonderful people. So Dame Maria Simone is going to be, she's going to come back with us at about 6:50, but go ahead and she's going to go a little bit faster. If you can come back at around 6:50, we're going to have more time at the tail end. But because you have so much value, go ahead, Maria. What say you?
Absolutely. Okay, real quick. I'm a New Yorker. I can do this. I can speak fast. you know, so I've known Doria for over 20 years. So I have a different situation. We've been, you know, such good friends. And then I finally attended the Money and You program. And, you know, I had been out there. I've had success in business. I deal with a lot of money. I've raised a lot of money. I've made money. And so I kind of, you know, I felt like I knew a lot. However, of course, you don't know what you don't know. And so I loved the program. Was great in self-reflection for me, the micro distinctions of, you know, how you show up around leadership and money, and because it's so fun, things happen so quickly. You know, you just get to see that the self-reflection is magnificent, and that's part of the transformation. And so I love that part. I do come back often because now it's my secret weapon in team building. This is great to bring the people in your life, your teams. You know, we've been doing that for years and years, and I get to see, I'll see how my team shows up, and then I go home, and now we can make adjustments in the business. It's really given people a better perspective around money, where they may have been more competitive, maybe had deservability issues, especially in sales and things like that. Now they understand that, you know, we're here for a higher purpose. Money is a tool. It's a spirit. To me, it's a spiritual energy to, you know, we love to see it circulated into its highest and best use. So I find that I could turn, you know, our team members become more, you know, sales oriented. Like they're more, when they're on purpose and they step into their own leadership, they're much more effective. So it's been just wonderful, and it's helped all my businesses grow and all my partnerships just move forward. So thank you. It's been awesome. I'll see you later then.
Okay, and thank you for giving up your hot yoga. So Jessica Conti, can you also join us around 6:50, or you probably have lots to do, but go ahead, Jessica. What say you?
I was muted. Yes, I can join you back at 6:50, but I'm inspired to share something so profound that was gifted to me at Money and You. And by the way, thank you for your invitation for me to join this amazing conversation. So many distinctions that lead to the conversation of money and leadership, but the one that stands out for me as an entrepreneur, as a leader, the most is responsibility. And prior to Money and You and understanding the deep, profound meaning of that word, I felt a heavy weight, like many of us did. When you hear responsibility, oh, geez, it feels heavy. Like, oh, I got to carry this responsibility. I have to do this. That's not the case. The awakening for me in responsibility was, it's a gift. It is a gift to, you know, like Maria was sharing, step into your true purpose, your divine plan in life, and your best self, and give to the world what you're built to do. And that is a gift. That's a responsibility we all have. And as leaders, leading our teams in business, leading our colleagues around us, our families even, leadership, if you kind of narrow it down for me, the word that comes up for me is responsibility. It's the responsibility that I get to show up for them. I get to tap into their brilliance, into their gifts and talents and contribution. And instead of having like this hierarchy where you're a leader in your business up here and you have everyone working for you beneath you, it's the opposite. It's you're the leader, you're the hub and the heartbeat, but you have everyone on your team around you collaborating, contributing to the problem solving, to the day-to-day operations, to allowing yourself to be that leader and lift the others up around you. And in a nutshell, that was probably the biggest distinction that landed on me in my whole life, and as a gift to understand that deeply profound, true meaning of the word responsibility. Wow. And I feel complete.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, JB Owen, how are you going to beat that one?
Wow. Thank you so much for letting me be here. So many great conversations, so many wonderful things. And it was just an honor to be a Money and You participant and graduate. So loved coming to Money and You. And I have to be honest, for me, I got a big awakening when we talked about contracts and we learned about how to make contracts. As a Canadian, I was always a little bit shy because, you know, we're always so nice as Canadians. We don't want to pressure people with contracts and make people sign. Even as a woman in business, I had my own beliefs around, oh, what does it mean to create a contract? I just want people to be their word. I want people to show up. And Money and You was so great about teaching us that leadership and creating contracts and agreements with people is so powerful. You can achieve so much more. You can get so much more done. You can be so much more laser focused when you create a contract around the abundance and prosperity of money. And I've been dabbling with this wonderful idea and working on a new book called M2, because I know a lot of people that I coach talk about, please God, let me have more money, or money is evil and money is the root of all evil. And they have this idea that money is God energy or devil energy. And really what I'm coming to understand is money is its own unique energy. And I call it M2 because you need something, an idea, a product, an imagination, a vision, and you need something else, a person, someone who can create, a builder, a visionary, to come together to create the abundance of money, because so many people are sitting around just wanting money to come to them, just wanting money to show up, just wanting to do the smallest, littlest amount and then have huge amounts of wealth. And what we're forgetting, and possibly we've lost a little bit, is this idea of collaboration, not competitiveness, but coming together. How do we create this M2 energy that fosters abundance and money and allows us to work together? And it goes right back to the beginning of creating these really powerful contracts with intention and beauty and giving. And as someone who is really excited and committed to igniting humanity, how do we speak to and teach others to feel the same way? And as leaders, we have to lead by example. How do we show our teams, our staff, our employees, our children, our community, the people who spend time with us, leading by example, that generating funds, wealth, abundance, prosperity, all of that comes with leading first, saying yes, making the effort, putting the energy into it, manifesting what it is you really want. Powerful, powerful energy that comes from it. And Money and You truly shows you that. All of the team is so committed. All of the speakers and facilitators are so giving, genuine in this very much assisting, supporting, and offering, creating this manifestation of money and abundance for all of the attendees. And I've met some great, incredible people there, friends that I have made from the class and the course. I absolutely can't wait to audit and come back and do it again. And I just want to say thank you, Doria, for just making this possible for so many of us to really step into our abundance. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And so, just so you know, we're going to be migrating some of you out because we have people waiting for the next batch that's coming in. So if you have spoken, we're going to obviously keep our beautiful Leticia. But if you can and you're awake and you feel like it and we have little room, we'll be having possibly an after party around 7:00 California time for those of you that didn't get to speak as much, but it has been so valuable. So we're going to start letting you go. And thank you so much. Leticia, you're on next. All right, Leticia, what say you? And let's start bringing up some of our other next beautiful batch. Leticia, you are on mute. It's okay. We know that you're a master of this, except when you get in front here. And it's totally okay because you have all the time in the world. What I can do is I can bring some of the other people in now. We'll go ahead. Oh, there we go. All right. Go ahead, Ava. Let's bring up some of the other speakers too. It's okay.
All righty, here I am. Sorry about that. StreamYard is not what I use very much, but I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah.
So basically, I want to say that leadership.
You have some. You could go ahead and introduce the other people. We have. Okay. So go ahead and mute yourself. No problem. Thank you. So, Leticia, maybe we can mute you. Can we mute her, Abba? Help her up? It's okay. We all have technical. Hi, everyone. This is the next batch. How are you? We have Singapore, India represented. Leticia's going to be coming back in a minute. And we have Dame beautiful Marie Diamond from Belgium, but she's actually in Los Angeles right now. We have Dr. Ray Blanchard, my platonic boyfriend. Shh, don't tell the boyfriend. All right. So I don't know if you've been watching but I just wanted, this is a conversation with our beautiful leader, Money and You graduates. So let's go ahead and go to Ray, let's go to you and kind of watch your times. We have about 3.5 minutes. What is your experience of leadership and money?
Wow, what a great question. And thank you for allowing me to be on the show with you. I love it. Well, first of all, money is abundance in the universe. And I realized that I needed to shift my consciousness and shift my thinking, shift my belief system to realize that money wasn't just a thing. Money was a medium of exchange. And what that means is that I needed to get into a flow of collaboration with the universe, that I realized that the universe is unformed substance, and that it's a spiritual kind of thing. And that when I use my vision of what I want with real intent and clear imagination and focus 100% on what my purpose is in having money and align my actions around what my purpose is and what my clear imagination, specific imagination is, it seems to form a distinct reality in the universe, which is money. So when I form my concept of money in terms of my purpose and my vision, and specifically what I want to do with it and what I want to contribute, then the universe conspires to bring forth what it is I'm imagining. So to me, money is an alliance with the universe, and an abundant universe. And leadership is about us being the kind of person who people will follow you. Because if you're not got people following you, then you're not a leader. So a leader is someone who stands out for people and collaborates with people in such a way that people voluntarily commit their time and energy to manifest what it is that you're up to. So leadership to me is being able to access that which is deep within you, your purpose in life, and being able to express that, articulate that, and be that in the world, such that people align and dedicate their commitment as well. So it's a collaborative relationship with others and with the universe is what I see.
Me too. That needs to be brought up. Thank you, Greg. Let me see. Marco, you come back, honey, in about 15 minutes because we need the space in the back. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and bring up Ava. Ava, are you around? I think I lost Ava. Okay. I almost banned my beautiful. Thank you so much. Marja, what say you about money and leadership?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, outstanding. Thank you so much, Doria, for having me here. I was watching the previous group, and so many of my lovely family, chosen family, were there. And I got to attend as a facilitator, a helper with Jessica. And my first Money and You, I actually attended with Peter. And also I was there with Maria. And so it was great to see so many of my family here. Peter and I were told by you at the same time to show up for Money and You last year. And we had both invested so much in our personal development, 7 figures easily, over a long period of time. And so quite honestly, we had a conversation, well, what are we going to learn here? Because we didn't know. And when we showed up day one, first hour, we're like, yeah, refresher, got it. And then all of a sudden we looked at each other, we went, uh-oh, we don't know this. And what shifted for me during Money and You is actually truly still shifting for me. I've gone back as a graduate. I'm coming back again very soon. I can't wait to see you for the next Money and You coming up. The impact was because it's an experiential learning. It's not, when you're learning things rote, it's easy to forget it. But when you have experiences, it becomes a part of you. We don't forget the experiences. We don't forget what we do. And in that room, we weren't just learning, we were doing. So it was coming into us at a cellular level. And I noticed that it shifted my thought process. It shifts how I show up. It shifts the conversations that I have with people and the relationships with myself, with money. It opened up things that I didn't know were there and allowed me to clear it out, clean it out, and show up as an even stronger leader. And earlier you were talking about leadership and money, and there's two types of leadership. There's the formal leadership. I had that when I was in the military, in the Army and in the Air Force, and I got to have the title and you're in charge. This is the hierarchy. Formal leadership, I understand that. And then there's also the informal leadership, how you're showing up every day for yourself, for everyone that you have a conversation with, for everyone that you do business with, for everyone that you serve. And that informal leadership is even more important because it's talking about who we are and what we're going to do and actually how much impact we're going to get to have in the world. And the informal leadership is what came to the surface even more because Money and You and that experience allowed me to move out any of the false stories, false beliefs around money, around sales, around impact, around business, and allowed me to really show up at a higher level. It's absolutely incredible for me to walk through life now as a Money and You graduate, being in the league with, in connection, having peers all over the world that are also Money and You graduates that are doing incredible things in the world. So it kind of raises the bar a lot,
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, I love all these different sharing. So what we're going to do is, Jeff Gamami from New Zealand, I want you to come in. So make sure you connect, okay? Make sure that you connect. Oh, I don't know if I'll have room now. Dawa's here. All right. Let's go ahead and go to Dame Marie Diamond. What say you about money and leadership?
Hello, everybody. Wonderful to be here. Thank you so much, Doria, to invite me. I came as an immigrant in 2001 to the United States, and one of my clients a few years later was Jack Canfield. And I asked Jack Canfield, what are the things I need to learn here to really become successful in the United States? Or is there any program that you would take again or that you could recommend me? Because there's so much on the horizon. And he said, there's only one that I would take ever again, and that is Money and You. And so that was enough for me to connecting with Dame Doria and to go to Money and You. What I learned there was that I was okay for me to be a business entrepreneur. I came from Belgium, and I had started up a business there that failed. And so that led to a lot of judgments towards myself. And, it was just, me consulting and speaking, and things went wrong. And so I was really not in a good place around money at that time when I came into Money and You. And what I learned there created for me a different anchor about money. And course, the experiences, it was not just like reading about it, studying about it, it was experiencing it. That amongst a group of people that were just so loving, so compassionate, but also so focused on helping everyone that was present there, the participants, and the team was just so present there. And I will never forget that, to just bring us through the journey. And I would always say, many times people ask me, what would you do again if you would do another program? And I would say the same as Jack Canfield, the only one I would do is Money and You, because I became there a leader. And even if I had a big vision and a big focus, I literally did not become a leader. And I would say I would never have been in The Secret. I would never had millions of followers and students. I would never have, attained everything I received if I would not have spent these 3.5 days in close to San Diego. And just releasing, first of all, what I did was releasing all the pain I had from the past experiences, and then really understanding that I was able to connect in with money in a different way and with leadership, and that that leadership skills I learned there are still serving me every day, and there's still flashes of Money and You that come back, even if it's like 20 years ago now. Sometimes when I'm in, a decision making I need to do, I just would refer back. I would just see myself, literally visualize myself in that space and the Money and You meeting. Even if I don't remember all the details, I just tap in again to the energy and what I subconsciously still remember from this. And then I get new insights. And so it has been an eternal learning, but at the same time, one of the most amazing and gracious experiences I've ever had to learn about money and leadership. Thank you.
A little bit of. Okay. Thank you, Marie. We got all of it. And by the way, once you're done speaking, we may be pulling you away because we need to have enough room. So if you have spoken and get put away, please forgive us. All right. Thank you. Leticia, right? Are you ready to go? And
I'm ready to go this time. Thank you for having me here. Money and You has been an exciting blessing in my life. I came to Money and You not really knowing very much about it. I have a friend that when she invites me to things, those things are so fantastic that I just am at the point where I don't really ask a lot of questions. I just show up. And she told me I needed to be there and show up. And it was a fantastic opportunity to be around so many people that were so positive. Like, whatever you said, I think I want to do this. They were like, yeah, you could do it. This is how you could do it. I had just not been around that many positive people. I'm used to my parents saying you can do it, but not strangers who didn't have anything invested in what you were doing saying, yeah, you can do it. And I got some great ideas for you. And some of those people that I met at Money and You, I still work with today. I still know today. I was part of a class where two people actually got together as a couple. They are married and have children now. I mean, it was just, that class was just a really magical class for me. I seem to be watching magic happen around me. But when I think about leadership and money, I love leverage, and I love leveraging leadership and money for helping those who are unhoused and hungry. So I stand firm that everybody deserves a safe bed and enough food to thrive. And so what I've been doing is working on an initiative with Dame Doria about adopting the homeless without taking them home. So I do a lot of the street leg work. There's the link that if anybody wants to donate to that. I do a lot of the street leg work to help people who are on the streets, giving directly to them, that people are on the streets. But I know that a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of my friends, they have a heart for it. They just maybe don't have time or expertise in how they want to work with it. And so I'm here to kind of redistribute the wealth, the money. So I talk with a lot of leaders about funneling some of their leadership into what I'm doing. and then we have people on the ground to do it. I'm working with a food kitchen in Paris that serves hot meals. They serve hot lunches to whoever comes. Some of the people are working people, some of the people are people on the street, but it is nutrition food, it's not garbage food. Um, and I work with charities that help children get off the street, YES, and Stand Up for Kids in Orange County. And then we have a new homeless partner in Santa Clarita. They are building another shelter, which is going to be an apartment building where they're getting people off the streets into stabilized homes so that they can move on to their next station. So that's been a dream for me. I'm moving more and more into that. Yes, I still have my TV shows. I'm still building channels on Roku, Amazon, and Fire TV. But this is just becoming more and more of my life. And I really love it. Thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we're going to be removing some of you. By the way, if you are in the back, if you are in the backstage, if you're done, you have to go so that we can let the next batch come in. Thank you so very much. So Aziza and Dawa and Terrence and Carol, I'm sorry, we're going to have to shorten it a little bit, but you know you can come back at 6:45, 7 o'clock if we have room for the after party, right? So we'll go ahead and Dawa. I know that you are in between gigs here, so go ahead and just share with us about money and leadership.
Sure, Doria, thank you for having me. What came to my mind listening to the others is something I've learned on my journey around money. I'm a technology entrepreneur. We're using technology to scale human transformation around the world, specifically artificial intelligence technology. But we also work a lot with investors. And there's this concept of dumb money and smart money. What I learned at Money on You is that there's a third form of money, which is wise money or conscious money. About a decade ago, I met a man named Bruce Fetzer. He's the nephew of John Fetzer, who established the broadcast network in the United States. When John Fetzer died, he left a legacy together with $650 million. And he told his nephew, who took over his foundation, to be very, very careful what he does with the money, because the money didn't belong to him, it belonged to consciousness. And it made me think, it was such an unusual thing to say. For
Is that Dawa or is it me that is having a little bit of a challenge? Dawa, oh, he was sharing something so beautiful. It's his internet, right? It wasn't me? Hello? Okay. So I hope that he can come back in. All right. I tell you what, let's go ahead and we'll take Terrence. Go ahead and share. Terrence is our promoting partner, also from Malaysia, Singapore. What say you?
To me, like there has been a lot of times where I have this conversation that is, should I go for happiness? Should I go for money? And this has been the background of where I was brought up in. And it seems like a mutual exclusive conversation. If you want happiness and peace, money's in the way. And if you want money, you probably have to let go of a lot of the good stuff and values in human and go all out for money. It was a mutual exclusive conversation where I was brought up in that conversation. And at coming to Money and You, I kind of like learned that it is just a story and it's not really true. It's that way. What's true is how I want it to be. And that really got me thinking and made me realize that what I was taught when I was in that environment and culture is not really accurate. And it gives me an opportunity to re-evaluate everything.
Is it me or is it Terrence? Hello? Is it Terrence having a challenge?
No.
Sorry, Terrence. I interrupted you.
It's all
Go
right.
ahead. If you can complete.
And that is kind of like the journey of starting to relook at everything in my life, all the old beliefs, all the old culture that I learned. Is it true or not? And starts to give me a lot more insights to build on what money's what my relationship with money is, what my relationship with leadership is, what my relationship with leading people, making impact on community is. And that's what the program helped me to get clarity on. And that's one of the biggest things I got from the Money in You program.
Thank you so much, so that you committed your life to supporting it so much. Thank you so much. Oh, we're having the next batch starting to come in. So go ahead, Aziza, what say you?
Thank you so much, Doria. It's really wonderful to be on this beautiful space and seeing all our amazing friends around the world. And it's been a journey for me. You know, when I first think about Money and You, and I was in the room in the Chinese Money and You with Ling Weixian Lao Shi, it was a great experience. And the one biggest takeaway at that moment for me was, what am I doing in this world? What is my biggest gift for the world? What am I supposed to be doing? What's my life purpose? And that is the journey that got me to a huge way of being right now, who I am and what we are doing in our space. As you know, Money and You has been the pivotal point for our work in consciousness for businesses. As we say in Money and You, the mission of uplifting humanity consciousness through business. That is something that related so much to us in the way that we showed up. And for me, I still remember the first time when Wendy was taking me back, Wendy Tan, back from Money and You to drop me off. And she said, Aziza, you are going on a very interesting journey of learning about the youth, the deep work of the youth, consciousness work. And that's going to take you a long way. And that is what has happened to me in a big shift in the way that we showed up together with my business partner, Mr. Ayyapadas. Both of us have created this beautiful space for conscious leadership to grow in Asia, especially when it comes to conscious capitalism, where we are playing the barnyard game. As many will not know if you have not attended, so that's something you need to do, because in the barnyard game, we actually talk about collaboration, spontaneous cooperation that takes over. And that's the community that we are building from Asia really passionately. Even when we brought Money and You to India, it was in that space of really connecting the world into a space of spontaneous cooperation where global peace can be the pivotal point for humanity to grow together in global business. So that's a whole stuff around this that we have been leading from Asia. And I think that speaks for itself for business and money. And as we take on, the going public journey, right? The IPO journey. It's been me expanding my deservability around money, coming from a homemaker, from a very humble background, and right now into talking about going public. And that's really about how Money and You is continuing to shift me as I constantly attend and grow in our network globally. So I want to say thank you, Doria, for creating this amazing space and also supporting humanity and all of us coming together as a big family. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aziza. Aloha. All right, let's go back. Dawa, you take another minute to complete. It was so good and you left us. But go ahead, let's complete.
Where did I leave you? What was the last thing that came through?
I can't remember the exact words. I used to be a co-reporter, but not anymore.
No problem. So I was talking about dumb money, smart money, and what I learned at Money and You, wise money. Yeah, and I mentioned John Fetzer, the person who established the broadcast industry in the United States, who, when he left a legacy of $650 million to his heirs, told them, be very careful what you do with this money. This is not your money. This money belongs to consciousness. And it really got me to reflect also with what I learned in Money and You, what money's role is, because most of the systems we have, the political system, the education system, the healthcare system, they're all being held back by our relationship with money at the moment. And so as someone who actually was trained in a monastery and spent a lot of time in meditation retreat as a monk in my young age, I never would have thought that part of my work would include transformation around money. But today I'm absolutely certain that in order for us to move forward as a species, this is the important key relationship we have to transform. So I'm enthusiastic about the work that you're doing and all the great people here that you have speaking. And I'm myself totally committed to continuing this work of helping our world transform this afflicted and also, let's say, a little bit traumatized relationship with money, and bring it into alignment so that money can fulfill its destiny, which really is to help us get to the next level of our own evolution. But for this, we have to understand that money, in fact, is consciousness, and that it is here to serve a purpose, and to have more people in the financial service industry as well, and dealing with money, who do this with the same intention that you and I and many others are here, which means using money as a vehicle to bring the community of man forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dawa. We're going to let you go now because some people are being left out that need to come in for the next batch. And we have beautiful Sharon Lechter. Please forgive me for all of you that have been waiting, but Sharon can only be with us for just a few minutes. So she's knocking in here. And Sharon, thank you so much for joining us and the contribution that you have made with, 36 million of the first Rich Dad Poor Dad book is known now as one of the, I guess, the bestseller around the world in regards to that particular genre. Thank you. Thank you for doing that beautiful work. And so, Sharon, the conversation today is about money and leadership. And if you can, you did Money and You a long time ago. So if Money and You impacted you in any way around that, you were already this rock star leader. So what say you, Sharon, about money and leadership?
Well, thank you, DC. And hello, I see a lot of familiar faces. Good to see you guys. Delighted to be with you. And I'm between two other events, so I want to make sure I had some time to come spend with you. And, Money and You is all about mindset, all right? So you cannot lead others if you can't lead yourself. And so leadership as it comes to money is, what decisions are you making? What are you allowing your subconscious to control related to that decision making? We hear things when we're little about money doesn't grow on trees, save for a rainy day, pinch your pennies. And so when we're young, because we're not being taught about money, we hear money negative, money negative, money negative. So wonder we end up with a mindset of scarcity. And it's our subconscious. We may not even realize that until we realize that we are afraid we're never going to have enough money. And then when we actually become successful, we're afraid we're going to lose it because we've never dealt with that innate self-conscious hindrance as it relates to money. So it's like anti-leadership, right? You're constantly afraid. Your money is in a circle of fear. And so particularly Money and You concentrates on teaching you about that and helping you identify those blocks that are standing in your way. And you cannot lead in authority and you cannot lead with passion if you have these things holding you back subconsciously, because you communicate that. And so it's really important to find that leadership of your own ability to handle your money, to handle your mindset about money, because people can get money and they lose it because they haven't taught themselves how to manage it. So you have to lead your money as well as lead yourself, but it starts with your mindset and being able to understand that you have every opportunity to create wealth in your life. We are all where we are today because of the choices we made before today. If you want something different, something more, something better, just start making different choices today. And that starts with how you handle your money. Are you a consumer or are you an investor? It's kind of easy. Think about it. And you're either in control of your money or it's in control of you. And that all comes back to what your subconscious mindset is making you control. And so many people are employees, they go, you're just about entrepreneurship. I said, no, it's not what you do for your paycheck that determines your financial future. It's what you do with your paycheck that determines your financial future. What decisions are you making with every dollar that comes into your life? Are you saying goodbye to it by spending it and being a consumer? Or are you investing it in buying, building, or creating income-producing assets? My favorite word, assets. If you're a leader and you want to lead your own financial health, you lead by buying, building, creating income-producing assets. Because what happens is that gives you your time back. The only precious resource we have is time. You can make money, lose it, and make it back, but you don't get your time back. And so it's really important to really take ownership. We live in a time when we want to blame somebody else. We want to be a victim. Stop it. Just stand in your own power. Be accountable and responsible for the decisions that you're making. And do you need to make different decisions? Do you need to step outside your comfort zone? Because that's where the opportunity is, not inside where it's comfortable. Take that step outside and make a choice to do something new, to find a new association, the power of association. And we talk about leadership. I talk about the personal success equation, which is your passion and your talent. Most of us stop there thinking we have to do everything on our own. But then there's a times A, the power of association. DC, Doria is one of my I value our association. Times taking action, and then wrap it all up with faith. Faith in yourself, faith in what you're doing, faith that it's needed and necessary, and faith that you will succeed. And when I start with a new mentoring client, I go through that formula because it's usually the association that needs the most work and the self-confidence, because that F for faith is really fear holding them back. And they go hand in hand. When you have the right associations, you have the right people on your team, mentors or people that are strong where you are weak. When you have a bad day, they're not going to let you stay there. So that self-confidence and power of association go hand in hand. And that's why it's so important to think about your own, you are the CEO of your own life. Think about your associations, what you're doing, the decisions that you're making, and take control of that. And you can go to personalsuccessequation.com to get a free process that I developed to help you really identify things where you might be able to make one step to make a huge difference in your future.
Thank you so much. Somebody write that for us. Thank you, Sharon. I know that she has to go. And oh, this is so exciting. Thank you so much, Sharon, for coming in to visit us in between gigs. And so
my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. And coming into my distinctions program the other day, the Money and You distinctions. It was so nice having you with us. So we have
anytime I can support.
Thank you, Sharon. We have Carrie Zurier, one of our leading Money and You instructors, and we have our beautiful Andrew Barron, another one of our Money and You leading instructor. And I snuck in Jeff. Jeff, we didn't have room for you, but now we make room for you. But you were one of the people that took us down under, one of our promoting partners. Thank you so much. Edmund Lee, you are one of our business developers. Thank you so much. Brian Gallinger, thank you so much for being here at the last minute. And we have beautiful Dr. Tom Chesser also. And Tom, I think you were on at 6:30, honey, right? So come back at 6:30. Okay. That'd be good. That'd be good. We'll have you back at that time. Thank you so much. And Carol Dysart has been patiently with us. She's right now, not in age, not in soul, but the oldest graduate in this room. So we're going to have Carrie. Carrie, I know sometimes she's a little bit tight, and I have to go with the person that has been with me the longest around. So Carrie, we're talking about money and leadership, and we're only about 3 or 4 minutes. I know. It's kind of hard to ask people to do it in such a short time, but I know you can do it. Carrie, what say you? I mean, you've been leading Money and You for nearly 30 years. So what say you about money and leadership in 3 minutes? Oh, are you on mute? Okay. I think you might be on mute. Thank you. I know it's at the very bottom. This is a different one.
Got it. Thanks. Yes, I've never been on this platform before. So I just came off of a 2-hour call with our instructor trainees in Japan. So 3 minutes is a challenge and I'm up for it. I came on as Sharon was speaking, and my assertion is that most everybody who's speaking is speaking towards your relationship with money. If you really are going to shift how money shows up in your life, the 3 areas you have to focus on are: how does money work? How does money work? What are the facts around your money? In other words, how much comes in, how much goes out? And then what is my relationship with money? And Money and You focuses on all 3 of those areas, but the most important is your relationship with money. When I started this work, I had zero relationship with money, which was very ironic because I was a very successful fundraiser. I actually dealt in money all of the time, but money was something outside of me. Money was something that I used. Money was something I needed to handle. Money was something that was a pain in my butt. You know, there was like, money was something I didn't have a defined relationship with it. And I was thinking about this, and I've been thinking about this obviously for over 30 years with the work that I do. But really, the message that I have for everyone today is, what if money was on your side? What if your relationship with money was that it actually works for you and wanted you to win? What would you be doing with your money? How would you be relating to your money? What would you do differently? And Sharon just talked about relationship. Everyone is likely speaking about relationship because everything is context or relationship. Context, the lens through which you see. And if you do not have a relationship with money where it is working for you and it's on your side, it's actually your friend, then you're always going to be resisting it. You're always going to be pushing against something. And I don't think anyone who's listening to this or experiencing this or even outside of this needs any more experience with pushing against. There's so much resistance in the world. There's so much what we don't want versus what we want to create and taking the steps to create it. So my message to you is that money is on your side, and for you to start shifting that mindset in order to create money as an ally, not something that you need to manage, not something that's something outside of you, not even a foreign concept, because you have a relationship with your friends. You care about your friends. When people are on your side, you know they are going to be there for you. And I believe on the most powerful relationship that we could have with money is the relationship that 99.9% of human beings have with air. When you think about it, you don't worry about air. You don't fret about air. Yes, if you were climbing Everest, you might need to think about air. And sometimes we do need to think about money, and we need to plan for money, and we need to figure out how we're going to do the things that we want to do. I'm not saying never think about it, but when money is on your side, the relationship you have with money is that it will be there when you need it, just like breathing in and breathing out. Money is about breathing in and breathing out, taking it in and putting it out over and over and again so that it works for you in the ways that you want it to work. And that was really Bucky's message. How do we make the world work for 100% of humanity 100% of the time? And in order for your world to work, your relationship with money has got to work. How'd I do on time, Dee?
Oh my God, you are hired for another 30 years.
Yay!
Thank you, Carrie. And we want to remind everyone that you will be leading again the San Diego Money and You program. May 1, we start in the evening through 4th. And I know that quite a few watching are already attending. A lot of you are Money and You graduates. Thank you so much. And we still always need support in the logistics team. So make sure that you go to info@moneyandyou.com and let us know that you can join us for that. Or the great game, you know, on day 3, Friday, yes, at around 5 o'clock, come and hang out with us. We'll have yummy food. Yummy, yummy food. All right. Thank you so much, Carrie. We're going to let you go so we can let some other people in. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and go to our next Money and You instructor. And thank you for the rest of you for your patience. Andrew Barron. Andrew Barron, what say you, coming all the way from New Zealand? What say you, my love?
Hi. Hi, Doria.
Hi, honey.
I'm really present to a couple of things. I did my program Money and You back in the year 2000 when I was the tender age of 25, and I was working in a restaurant earning about $200 a week at the time. I was living at home with my mother and my two brothers, and I've been really, really, really successful at school, really great at school. Always knew what to do to get in the top 4 or 5 in every class, great at sport. But once I came to this whole thing of life, it was somewhat more challenging for me to actually work out how it works. And I stumbled across the program. I mean, most people come across the program, they're recommended by their friends or someone that they know or colleague or family. I actually came across a little tiny ad in the newspaper in the North Shore of Auckland, and I went to a preview, and they convinced me to max out my second credit card at the time. So when I started Money and You, I was at -6,000, earning $200 a week. So my relationship with money, if we're talking about relationship with money, was somewhat well, it's definitely a function of what I'd learned growing up. And I absolutely love the program. First of all, because I spent the left of my credit card, what was left on my credit card, I'd spent that. I was very, very committed. I went into the program and I had to get value out of it. But one of the things that came up for me was it really challenged some of my core beliefs straight away. The first night, straight into it. And I went home the first night and my brain was like blowing up. And as the weekend went on, I really became aware of a different context for being on the planet. And that's what I love about Money and You. It's really based on some really, really deep work by a guy called Buckminster Fuller. Look him up on YouTube if you haven't heard of him. He's an absolute genius. I loved it so much that some years later, I decided to become a Money and You instructor. And that took me some 6 or 7 years of traveling around the planet. And like I said, it gives a context, and it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't matter what part of the world you're in. You can be in Mexico, you can be in Canada, you can be in India. Like everyone, wherever it is, it provides a context for people to get that deeper go forward that they need. And so I love it. I love presenting Money and You. I love being in the room. I love seeing people's process as they go through it. I love all the games, and I love the relationships and the new friends and the people that I've met, the people that have empowered me and forced me to grow. And I like the way that Sharon Lechter said that if you handle your money, you'll get your time back. And that's really what I've got back. And I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I get to choose, right? Do I want to go out and do my business today, or what's more important is my 2 and my 5-year-old? What am I doing? And I get to make that decision every day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mark Victor Hansen is calling me right now. Mark, I am on the air. I'll call you in 1 minute. Thank you. So he's due to be coming in a little bit. So I just wanted to thank you so much, Andrew, because you forgot to mention how much your business is worth now, and the absolute financial, freedom that you now have, and the several businesses that you have. And so it's okay. They'll figure it out. You are in the web pages. So thank you so much. From $200 a week, that's very impressive. Thank you. So we're going to go ahead and quickly go to Brian Gallinger. And Andrew, we're going to have you exit because we have another batch coming in. And thank you. And you're welcome to also stay in the background if you would like.
I will stay in the background for a while. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian Gallinger, we just have a couple of minutes here.
I want to hear what Jeff's got to
say. Okay. I'll put you, don't worry. We'll just remove you over there. Thank you. So Brian Gallinger, what say you? How are you? Good to see you.
Great to see you too. Aloha from Hawaii. It's quite an honor to be here. I'll rip through mine quick because I know how these events go. So attending Money and You, I went the first time just a couple years ago. And the thing that hit me the hardest right away was having done and produced and attended personal and professional development events for over 30 years. My dream is to connect with like-minded, but also like-hearted people. And as most people know, I spend most of my focus on the social impact sector. So there were 4 things that I really learned and took away. And Grogu and I were actually talking about this as we were meditating and journaling yesterday, a beautiful Hawaiian sunset. And those 4 things are money, values, courage, and humanitarianism. So with money, I think it's really important that people talk about and learn at events like Money and You that how do we thrive while we're making money, but how do we also thrive when we're not making money, when we're not thriving in the successful financial area of our business. And whether that's in a profession or entrepreneurship, there are lots of ups and downs. And the pandemic really taught us that. So it's easier to thrive and to have confidence when you are making a lot of money. But when your business or your finances are struggling, one of the things I learned at Money and You is you can take your eyes off of yourself and you can absorb and learn from other people and give back to other people and take those opportunities, because as one door closes, another one opens up. So we have to continue to operate in that faith that these transitions are happening for a reason and we're going to learn something from it. And I really learned that at Money and You. The second thing is the values. And this kind of piggybacks on number 1, which is the money. And that is we need to operate in transparency, integrity, and we need to serve in an iron sharpens iron spirit. And that's during all spaces, when we're thriving and when we're not financially or going through adversity or hardship. And if you carefully select and attract and surround yourself with people that are like-minded and like-hearted, then they will lift you up and serve and support you when you are going through the adversity. And when you are thriving, it is our time, it is our duty to serve and share that abundance with other people, whether that's financial, energy, information, network, or whatever. So number 3, courage. While you are operating in this space, it's really important to know that you can still maintain empathy, love, compassion, being trusting, being generous, and being a giver without having to worry about getting taken advantage of. Because in business and in entertainment, there are a lot of sharks. There's a lot of narcissism. And so the nice guy might, have that finish last mentality if they get knocked around a lot. But what you can do, and Money and You taught me this, and it reinforced what I had always believed in my heart, is that if you set boundaries, if you hold other people accountable, and if you document everything, if you're careful and diligent with your business practices, you can operate in that love, trust, generosity, empathy, and givingness and not worry about that. Because as you surround yourself with the like-minded and like-hearted people, you will be great because they will help you be great during the ups and downs. And number 4, humanitarianism. That's the world that I live and work in and that I love. And I think it's really important, whether you're in the nonprofit sector, the B Corp, or the for-profit, that you learn how to help others while you are thriving, but also learn how to help others when you have your adversity and ups and downs. And how do you create a positive impact while making and earning a living? And I just really highly recommend that for those of you that have not attended Money and You, you will learn these 4 things. You will surround yourself with like-minded and like-hearted people, and it will check off and answer a lot of these questions that you may have been struggling with from your early entrepreneurship or professional years all the way up to whatever age and sector that you're at in your business. So grateful to be here. Love you, Doria. And everybody here today has just been wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that beautiful sharing. And make sure that you share the baby Yoda. I know that's not his name, but we love the baby Yoda in the background. Remember,
He's got
Mama
his own
has
Instagram. He's got his own Instagram and Facebook.
put it on the chat. Okay, thank you so much. Now we have to, and so Carol Daza, you're going to be coming back around 6:45, 6:50, right? Thank you, Barbie. We don't have the room, honey. You didn't let us know you were coming, so come back around 7 for the after party. All right. Thank you, my love. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to Sir Chad Warren. What say you? We have about 7 minutes before we bring in the next batch. Go ahead. Go ahead,
Hey,
Chad.
Doria. Great to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. You know, I have a very different background and history with money and you, and with money in general. Like Dawa, I had my early years. I was teaching transcendental meditation, doing deep meditation all through high school. And when I was in college, I got the opportunity to go and actually study with Buckminster Fuller. And he taught me some very powerful things about resources not being finite, and that there's enough for everyone, that there's enough food and energy to feed the entire planet. There's just, you know, we just artificially think, you know, there's only so much, but a lot of it has to do with just distribution. And that shifted my thinking in terms of what's possible, and that everything really is possible. But it was also a very academic kind of perspective, because I was still a student. I was reading his books. And then years later, as I was struggling financially with money and having a thing with money, my mother actually called me and said, I took this incredible course. I've signed you up. You're going in September. And at that time, I was a couple $100,000 in debt, and trying to figure out where I wanted to go. And that actually shifted my energy. It's just the idea of showing up and coming started changing my activities and certain things that were started showing up for me. And when I came there, I saw really how you and Marshall and Bucky taking a lot of these principles that are based on Buckminster Fuller, and actually putting them in application, and actually real world applications that really relate to everyday life and the ability to succeed, not only in business, but also in life. And that was very powerful for me. One of the great principles that I walked away from was leverage, and leveraging my time, my money, and my magic, in terms of being more, number one, showing up. That was a big thing for me. Number two, not trying to go for the big hit every time. I was in real estate. I was always trying to do the big hit and try to throw the ball, 100 yards, and try to make the big touchdown. And I learned to start taking smaller bites and be more successful more often in certainty, and then start looking for help with people around me, so that I tried not to do it just alone. And I'm still learning that lesson, especially with my partner, Maria. I mean, it took her a year to get me, to train me to have an executive assistant. And now I can't even imagine not having one, but started leveraging my own time and started doing less and accomplishing more. The fascinating thing is that right after Money and You, and then 6 months later, I went to Malaysia and did the business school for entrepreneurs, which I recommend everybody also check out. And Maria and I teach there. But over the next year or two, by applying the principle I learned at Money and You, I made millions of dollars. And Maria and I, are constantly, showing up and re-energizing ourselves by coming to Money and You, at least once a year, and reconnecting with the principles and the energy and the people and the network. And that's the other thing that's really huge. By coming to Money and You, by doing the business school, you connect into a worldwide network of like-minded people, like Brian was saying, that are there all to support you, and you get to support them. And there's an opportunity to create something that's greater than you had even imagined, just by showing up and leveraging your time and your money. So I think, like everybody said, that changes your relationship with money, and you look at it as something that is truly working for you. And it's really an energy to tap into and let it flow to advance and support you in your mission and what you're there to accomplish.
Thank you so much, Chad. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I was going to say, we're going to have Edmund go, and Jeff, you're going to kind of like overlap a little bit with Mark, Victor Hansen and things. I'm sure you don't mind, or do you have an appointment? Can you hang out with us a little bit longer, Jeff? Oh, good. I know that you are this super financially independent dude that can do whatever you want, but I know every once in a while you make appointments with people. And Chad, we're going to have Maria come back around 6:45, 6:55. If we have room, we'll have you come back too. But I've been inviting some other people to come in. So Edmund, aloha. This is our business developer in North America. What say you? I mean, thank you for your patience. You've been waiting patiently. Go ahead.
Oh, no problem for you. I definitely can wait. I just want to ask a couple of quick questions to those that are listening, and I'm going to be very quick. What if participating in Money and You is not about you or your money at all? I know that's kind of shocking to think about, but also, have you ever woken up? Have you ever woke up and just said, what is my purpose on this planet? Have you ever asked yourself that question? And see, the system has lied to us. It has said that every time we invest in something, that it has to be about the return on investment. Well, I'm going to challenge that and say that it's about the relationship on investment. And I learned that through Money and You. How? From my favorite distinction, one of them is called this principle of precession. And if you don't know what that is, that's the number one reason to go to Money and You right there. You could just stop and just attend, because that changed everything for me. I didn't know I was living in precession when I actually went to Money and You, because I didn't know what it was. I went because a friend told me to go, and I told another friend to go. And hopefully I can get through this. I had another friend go to Money and You with me. I had just a breakthrough emotionally at Money and You that really, really hit myself really hard. And it was very emotional, but it made the room silent. And it hit everyone else as well. And I won't share the details because I don't want to ruin the experience, but I'm so humble because the two people that were there leading that just got off of the call. And I'm so grateful for them. And I thought it was about me. I said, wow, this is happening to me. This is great. This is a transformation for me. Well, little did I know, I talked to my friend and he said, man, that changed my life. Watching you go through that, it really hit home for me. And at the time, he was 400 pounds. He left, he changed his life. He created a whole new system. He traveled from one state to another state and created this walk that he did every weekend called A Whole New Me. And this was in Tampa, Florida. He moved from Oklahoma, and so many people started following him on this walk because he wanted to make the world work for humanity. He learned this at Money and You. He had so many people losing weight and people being positive, and it was for free. And he did it every single Saturday. And it's really interesting because I went to visit him, and at that time I said, hey, I'm going to this place, CEO Space, who's the mentor that I mentored. That mentored me passed away, Bernie Dorman. And I was there at the conference. And I said, Eric, come on over to the conference with us. You're a graduate. He said, no, I have to do my walk. I'm committed. Doria told me to be committed. I'm committed to my walk and I'm committed to my program. Little did I know, he told me that night, he said, let me give you a key just in case you get there back home to my house, because I was staying at his house. Let me give you a key just in case I don't make it back before you. Well, little did I know he passed away because he had a heart attack during his walk. But what's interesting is that happened in 2017. They are still doing that walk to this day, every Saturday. He has a memorial on the Tampa Causeway in his name, and he would have never done that if it wasn't for Money and You, and it wasn't for me getting a breakthrough. So I've learned and made money from Money and You. I've done a lot of great things, but the biggest thing is that sometimes going to Money and You is about intuition, and you going towards your goal is happening with procession, and you don't even know that the purpose that you're living is just you going to your goals, and you have no idea the effect that your decision to go to Money and You can have on other people. And it has also helped me through COVID. I lost my father-in-law during COVID and had a son in the same 5 weeks. And it was these things that allowed me to realize that these shifts through Money and You were all intentional. And that is why, if you have the decision or you have learned about Money and You, it is your duty to go, no matter why you think you're supposed to go. I would say go just so you can learn the principle of procession and live it. I'm complete with that.
Thank you. Woo. Oh, let's take a deep breath. Thank you so much. Wow. Edmund, we're going to be having you leave now completely because we got the next batch of, this is the last batch. And then Mark Victor Hansen will be coming in, and we might be able to take a little break in between because Mark is going to be taking a little bit longer time in going through this. But Jeff, it's your turn. And Jeff, look, we got you together with Realby, right? All right. And I just wanted to make sure that you guys work together. So what say you, Jeff?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for hosting this. This is amazing. I'm calling it from Auckland, New Zealand. What a great graduate base. What an incredible network of incredible people. I met you, DC, or Doria, we call you DC, in Antarctica with Rill and Craig. We had the most incredible experience ever. You inspired us. Craig and I went and did the Money and You program in San Diego. This is going back about 9 years ago. And I got my mind is blew. I'd never experienced anything quite like that. I've spent over $100,000 on self-development in my life. And it was just the most incredible experience, most incredible people. For those people, I guess, who've never done Money and You, I guess a lot of people here, it's a series of games. And what I really got present to is that our brain does not distinguish games from reality. And you start to see our behaviors pop out. For me, I had this aha moment where I'm all about empowering people. I have a very successful business that spans around 28 or 29 different countries around the world. And I pretend to empower the leaders and the people on my team, in my business, and then I take over. And oh my gosh, we're playing this game and I took over. And it was like this aha moment that it really, like, I really stood back and said, do I really do that? And I started to see it everywhere in my life, not just in my business, but in my relationships, in my friendships. And it's an opportunity to make adjustments. And those things have been impactful. I retired shortly after, I guess for about 10 years, we retired. And I watched my business grow by more than double while I wasn't at the helm controlling everything. And so for me, what a gift that provided. I'm actually back now. I come out of retirement just recently, and I'm working on a massive project. And the principles I learned in Money and You, are absolutely being put in place. And I think we can scale this. I'll be a small part of that to scale it to a $200 billion enterprise in the health and wellness space. So it's really exciting. I just want to thank you, DC, Doria, for you being the champion of this product, this program, this life-changing experience for so many years. And we don't talk that often, but we love you heaps. And are really, really grateful to the program and to the principles. One last thing is, this processional effect that was just spoken about. Incredible, absolutely incredible. And for me, this next chapter of my life, it's like an encore. It's like the band that's out, given the gig, and then they leave the stage and they come back for an encore. This coming out of retirement is my encore, and it's not about money. It's about what will my great grandkids say that my life was about, and what impact can we make on the planet? How can we help impact humanity in a positive way? So thank you for having me. I'm so excited. And I'm excited for all of you who this might be your first experience of this incredible program. Life-changing.
Wow, Jeff, did you say 200 million or did you say 200 billion? What did I hear?
Sorry, 200 billion. It's a $200 billion project. We think we can disrupt the health and wellness. It's an app. It's with AI. We're not here, not the place to talk about it, but it's exciting.
Well, I just want you to know, remember, I'm working with the 100 billionaire, so we're going to talk. We're going to go off.
Okay. All right.
Talk about it. By the way, everybody put yourself on mute. When you're not on, please mute yourself because we can hear you. So this is the new batch, and we're going to have Mark that will be joining us any minute now. So thank you so much, Jeff. My love to Bentley and everybody, the family. Thank you so much. So from what I can see over here, we have Dr. Tom Chester. Thank you so much for coming back, our super PR person. We have Realby, your hubby, your business partner was here earlier, and he did a great job, by the way. He represented you well. She is our promoting partner from New Zealand and Australia. Thank you so much. And then we have Dr. Serge Gravel. Dr. Serge Gravel is he is this magnificent instructor of the business school. He is actually the executive director of the Doria Cordova Foundation. Super smart. All right. And then we have our beautiful Dame Wendy T, who is our business partner, our promoting partner, our partner for 24 years. Can you believe that, Dame Wendy? 24 years. Yes, yes. And then we have Alias. Alias, hi. He is going to be leading with us the Hispanic aspect of our business. It's so exciting, Alias. Almost every day now, I start having all these people that are interested in creating more and more the Spanish market and opening up. All these miracles are happening. And then we have beautiful Marco from Singapore. Thank you. Thank you for coming back. And we have enough time here. So I just want to make sure with Ava that we have, Ava, you can maybe text me that we have enough room so that we can let Mark come in. This is an interesting platform, just so you know. You know, I'm so used to having whoever I want in Zoom, but apparently there's a limited amount of people that we can have here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and have Tom Chester. Tom, just take a couple of minutes and share your experience of leadership and money since you have been hanging out with us for a little while. And so what say you about money and leadership?
You know, leadership is ownership. Ownership, you know, I think the beautiful thing I like about Money and You is it is like a ship. You know what I mean? And it does go somewhere. This ship is not broken. This ship is sailing. And I love the aspects of the people in Money and You and the people in this event. It's so nice to be here again, you know, and hear everybody's encouragement and everything else. So I really encourage people to actively get involved and participate. Because once again, I wrote about how the only failure is the failure not to participate. And everybody in this room has been participating at the highest level possible. So, you know, I've brought a lot of people into Money and You. I've done PR for Money and You. I've really been out there waving the flag for the principles of Money and You, because it really is about the principles of leadership and the principles of Money and You. And what you do was what you have. And I think Carrie summed that up beautifully, and so did Sharon. You know, in their situations are talking about, you know, the leadership role in what you're doing in your life to add value. So it really is about the value that you're adding in life and in other people's lives. So, Doria, I'm getting ready to open up another whole can of, pardon the French, kick-ass people and bring them into your Money and You here shortly, this coming. And I think you're going to be amazed at some of the people that are going to be showing up. So that's what Money and You is about your relationship and relationship equity. And I tell people all the time, never take out more than you put in. And I want people to continue to add value to what we're doing for humanity. I mean, I just been in meetings today. We're in San Antonio, Texas, meeting today, talking about building a wellness center, which is actually for wound care and everything else to deal with for amputees and veterans and diabetes and the whole 9 yards, for actually building a hub that is going to be duplicated around the world. So it's what you're doing that matters the most. And what you're doing to change lives for humanity is the essence of what I believe Money and You has in common with everything I'm doing. So thank you always again for allowing me to drop in, saving the best for the last, and giving me an opportunity once again to shine with each and every one of you, because each and every one of you shine. Thank you so very much.
I always feel so honored, Tom, because you are a reverend. You are a reverend, a Christian, a very deeply loving Christian that absolutely that Money and You, the principles in there are so in alignment with what you do in life, aside from the squillions that you invest. I mean, you're such a successful human being. And thank you so much for seeing that and particularly the bucket principles that is good for everyone. So thank you so much. So with that, let's go ahead and go to Dame Wendy T. We had her a little bit earlier, but she just came in. But for Wendy, we always make room, no matter what time she comes in. She has been our business partner for 24 years, and she is an extremely successful entrepreneur in the, believe it or not, engineering in the fire protection space. And it was so interesting because I was going through a learning experience in many ways, and then I just thought, well, I guess Money and You is going to have to stop in Malaysia and Singapore. And she says, I'll do it. I'll do it. I said, no offense, but you don't know anything about this seminar business. And she says, well, she goes, I can hire people. I mean, this woman really understands leverage, by the way. And she created a whole arm of her company. And we've been happy sailing ever since. And Marco is one of the results of, her connection. So what we're doing, Wendy, we're just speaking about 3 or 4 minutes about the value of leadership, money, and what say you? And thank you for being with us.
Well, I would say that Money and You, attending Money and You in 1998 is one of the biggest gift that I gave myself, because I was at the crossroad at that point in time in my fire contracting business. My business partner and I were arguing every single day. And I was just looking for a solution. And I went for a preview. I saw a little advertisement in the newspaper. I attended the preview. And even before the preview ended, I decided to sign up to attend the course, not knowing what it was about. And I asked my business partner, would you come along with me? He said, you attend first, and if you think the program is very good, I will come along. But that never happened at all. So I attended Money and You in 1998, and attending Money and You and business school gave me the courage to say no more to him. And I bought the business out from him for 5.5 million. And things changed after that, after Money and You. And when Money and You was stopped in Malaysia, and like what Doria said, I decided to talk to her and say, let's bring Money and You back to Malaysia. And that was in 2001. And this has been happening up to date. And we have people from all around the world that attend our Money and You, from Cambodia, Vietnam, Japan, and Singapore. We have always a big crowd coming from Singapore. And thank you to Marco and friends who are always supporting the Globe Success team in Malaysia. Very thankful to you and your team to continue with us, bringing in people to Money and You in Malaysia. And this year, we'll be doing our Money and You on April 25th to 28th. And you have people that you want to bring, you can still sign up. And we'll be also doing a Japanese Money and You in October. So you can come back to review after you have attended one Money and You. You invest once and you have a lifetime of free review in any part of the world. And that's what I love about this Money and You. Money and You, I'm always in the Money and You room whenever Money and You is done in Malaysia. And that gives me a lot of energy to go out and give back to society, because running a fire protection contracting company is not easy. You're continuously dealing with people who are so harsh on the ground. And for me, when I go into Money and You space and to come out, I'm able to give out a lot of love to the people out in the world, which we all need. I mean, Money and You, one of the things in the Money and You was I want to give love to the world. And I'm so thankful I'm able to do that now. So at this present moment, my fire contracting business is doing really, really well because of this Money and You. I give thanks to Dame Doria for always supporting us out in this part of the world, and she continuously is behind us, having meetings with Terrence and JC and our team, and also going out to Singapore to do classes with Marco and his team to really get the Money and You going. So Money and You is some.
Wendy. Go ahead. Just complete. Go ahead.
So money has a lot to do with mother. So if you're not getting the money that you want in life, go and have a better relationship with your mother. Yeah, and go into Money and You and learn the principles of Money and You is so excellent because I can apply all the principles that I learned at Money and You into my business, at home, and at work. So thank you so much, and see you all in April if you can make it next weekend in Malaysia. Thank
Aloha.
you. Love you all.
Thank you. And now you can see why she's one of the promoting partners, right? Mark Victor Hansen, aloha. How are you?
Aloha. And I apologize for being a little late, but I'm thankful to be with all of you. And my
So
dear
Mark,
friend, he said, had no better sense to say that Jack and I were in the class, I think it was back in 1979. And she said, we're the two most handsome guys. And I thought, what a nice thing to say.
well, you guys were. You weren't rich and famous then. We were just looking at you. I'm just kidding. So Mark, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little tiny commercial break for the LA Tribune that has been hosting us. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring you up and talk for a little bit. And then the rest of the gang will hang out with you. Okay. So go ahead, Ava. What say you? You wanted to share? Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to be part of that, even though some of the days are at the same time as Money and You. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and please forgive me for the rest of you that will wait. Mark is going to spend a little time in sharing with us not only about money, but also leadership, because this is going to be part of the week that they will be doing, the Leadership Week. So Mark, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to bring you up on your own. But I just wanted to just really thank you. Sometimes people, once somebody made the mistake of calling me a Buckminster Fuller protege, and I was like, a protege of no, not quite. But a protege of Buckminster Fuller is somebody that is absolutely so incredibly not only smart, but you really have to have a lot of genius. So I said, I am a student of Buckminster Fuller teachings. And then, of course, I had the opportunity to be with him, around him for 6 years, from 1977 to literally he was at our business school in March of 1983, and he passed on July 1st of 1983. And what I really appreciate is the way that you not only learn from him, but you're truly somebody that also took his principles and everything else that you know, all about business, all about leverage, all about many of the principles that you learned, possibly at Money and You and many other places. But the way that you and Jack, what I can remember now, over 600 million books that have been sold of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. And then, you selling that. So what I know that took a lot of leadership. So this conversation today is about money and leadership. So we'd like to kind of give you the floor for about 10 or 15 minutes for you to just really give us a very good kind of an overview of your experience of leadership and money. Thank you.
I'm honored, thankful, and privileged, and I'm excited to talk to all of you. First of all, leadership is an inside out. You got to lead yourself before you can lead anyone else. That's obvious or tautological. And I did have the good privilege of traveling with Dr. Buckminster Fuller as a graduate research assistant for 7 years and owned 2 different geodesic dome building companies. So I learned what Bucky taught. He was born in 1895 by World War I. In 1917, he was being trained as an admiral by none other than Winston Churchill in London to win World War I, because Winnie was not yet ahead of it. Anyhow, what I teach very simply is just 4 things. Figure out what you want. And I wrote a whole book on that with my wife called Ask, The Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny, a bestseller. And we say, look, all of you have a destiny code inside you. And you got to, before you go to sleep tonight, the most important thing is 101 times say, what is it that I'm supposed to do? Now, if you're spiritual like I am, you say, God, what is my destiny? God, what is my destiny? God, what is my force, universe, infinite intelligence, infinite love, whatever it is, your code word that you find acceptable, amenable to you. And if you're an atheist or an agnostic, I don't know what you're going to use, but because something built this universe that Bucky would say it had a, when he wanted to kill himself after his daughter Allegra died, he was at the end of the pier in Lake Michigan, and he said 2 things is, number 1, is there a reason that I'm here? And he says, infinite intelligence came back and said, yeah, there's an a priori intelligence in the universe, and you're here to make humanity 100% for successful. So that goes back to what Bucky did to Ask, what I did when I talked to Big G, because what we teach in Ask is ask yourself, ask others, ask God. I said, God, I went bankrupt. What do I do now? This is 1974, not too many years before I took Money in You with DC and Jack and I and all that. Anyhow, so I said, I want to talk to people that care about things that matter, make a life-changing difference. I met the right guy to do it. So 4 principles: figure out what you want. And I wanted to be a speaker. And then everyone said, man, you are the greatest storyteller. Do you have that in the book? So we started to write books. I don't have one in front of me right now, but Stand Up, Speak Out, and Win. And back in 50 years ago, I sold 20,000 copies from the platform to a little bitty audience, 6, 10, 12, 20, 30, 40 people at a time. And we sold 20,000 copies at $10 each. They cost back in the prehistoric days $1. And amazing. That was $200,000. It's like making $2 million. So you got to ask what it is you want. Number 2, you've got the law says, put it in writing. You've got to have your own diary. What is your diary saying? I write 10 goals in my diary each and every day, new goals. Sometimes can be a repeat, but you just keep adding to it because it's compounded consistency over time that results in a great result. Bucky Fuller would say, real wealth is ideas times energy. And he was Einstein's best student, and energy is infinite. It just is transmuted an infinite amount of times. And some of you are going to object to that, but given quantum physics and epigenetics, which is my wife's a great student of, but ideas, if you turn the switch in your brain to that, you're going to do an infinite amount of thinking like Bucky did and like he taught me to do. There's infinite real wealth. Real wealth equals ideas times energy, but you got to figure out what you want. Number 2, you got to put it in writing. Number 3, you got to see it before you can have it. I saw that I would sell 1 billion books. Now, when I wrote that and gave it to publishers, we got turned down 144 times. I take the blame, not Dr. Jack Canfield. He gets no blame on this. I take all the blame because I went, this guy's nuts. Nobody's ever sold that many books before. And I've sold, like she said, somewhere 500, 600 million. And people say, well, wait, why didn't you know how many you've sold? Well, I'm number 1 in Vietnam and number 1 in Greece right now. And those aren't recorded except once a year. So Guinness Book of Records, can't feed that back yet. Anyhow, so you visualize it to realize it. You got to see it before you can have it. I saw that Jack and I would be number 1. And my goal at the front end was we'd sell 1.5 million in a year and a half. June 28, 1993, we come out. By December, we sold 1.3 million. So we're 200,000 short. But then next year I said we'd sell 5 million, and we did. Then I said we'd sell 10 million, and we did. Then we started selling 15 million a year, and we did. And they've never stopped selling. And now there's 4 movies out and all kinds of stuff. So you figure out what you want. Number 2, it's got to be put in writing. Number 3, you got to visualize it to realize. I did a whole book and had a whole set of tapes. Flip Wilson used to say, what you see is what you get. And then the number 4 principle of leadership is the most critical for your team. 1 and 1 equals 11. This is where you have a mastermind alliance. Now, the guy who really figured that out and then gave it to Napoleon Hill in a 3-day interview in New York City at his mansion at 95th and 5th Avenue, Andrew Carnegie, who I love and like and respect and admire built all the libraries. He was Library 2.0. I own a publishing company, Library 3.0, Mark Victor Hansen Library, where we ghostwrite people's books, which is changing the world because we're doing stuff that no one's ever done in fiction, nonfiction, and most importantly, biographies, where we take people's impact stories and bring them to life, because every one of you has a great story. It's got to be told. It's got to be put in a book, and I can spend hours just teaching that. But tonight we're going to open it up to questions. But this Mastermind Alliance, Andrew Carnegie, studying the Bible, discovered, holy cow, Jesus didn't do his first miracle, water into wine at Cana, until he had 12 disciples synchronized in a mastermind, unified. Judas went sideways later, but and caused the ability to produce miracles. So Andrew Carnegie says, I'll become the creator of industrialization. Didn't matter that he only had a third grade education. It mattered that he was doing exactly what Dr. Hill said, think and grow rich. Just like what we teach, and because we're talking about money, I got a whole money book series, but 1 Minute Millionaire, this is my corporate colors, purple and gold, and butterfly is the universal symbol of illumination. I wrote it with an astrophysicist, Bob Allen, who wrote 50 Ways to Do Nothing Down. But I only think if you're going to write a book, and I want you all to write a book, it's got to be unique, it's got to be inevitable, and number 3, it's got to be transformative to the reader. But our books, this is 2 books in one. So it was the first book ever that was #1 fiction, nonfiction. We melted down Amazon. We sold so many so fast. But on the left-hand side, you got your left brain, right-hand side, your right brain story. And if you can see it, and Random House had given us $1 million before we wrote it, because Bob and I had sold so many books. But there's a little butterfly in the leaf. And if you see it, the butterfly goes up to the top and flies to freedom. The 4 freedoms you have, and then I'll open it up to questions or discussion or whatever you want to say, or objections. But you want financial freedom, whatever that means to you. Whether it means earning $100,000, you earn, learn, and return a year, or $1 million a year, it's no different. The subconscious, when you buy it, will figure out how to do it. And it's easy for 10 million. And now we got 3,000 billionaires in America listed by Forbes. I say there are 6,000, because a lot of the billionaires we're writing biographies for right now, like John Paul DeJoria and Lyle Anderson and Colin Wolfswinkel. These guys and ladies are invisible to the public. They're just simply not known at all. So what happens is that you figure out what you want, you put it in writing, you visualize it to realize it, and then you put together a team to get your dream. And I redefine team as an acronym. Together, everyone accomplishes miracles. Every one of us has miracles. If you're alive, you're here to create miracles. You're here to, if you're made in the image and likeness of God, assuming you buy that, and I respectfully understand, we got Buddhists online, we got Zoroaster, we got Islam, we got everybody online. I don't care. That's not the point. There's only one spiritual system as far as I'm concerned. But the point is, you decide what works for you in that spiritual system. If there's this infinite intelligence, we'll call the AI of all AIs, to use current vernacular, not Upanishads or Vedanic literature or anything else, or the Akashic records. If that exists, and I say that it does, then you go from the place where everything's possible in the spiritual world into the mental world, into the physical world, which gives you back to your results. And everyone should become a millionaire, because I'm going to finish with this line and I'll open it to questions. Poverty only belongs in one place: a museum. We have enough for everyone to become rich. It's no longer how big a piece of pie gets, how big you make the pie. Pie is consciousness. There's never been more generalized wealth. Money and you need to be taught to everybody so they can make themselves get out of survival into surplus, into abundance, into plenitude, into more than enough, so they can really, as I said, the 4 freedoms a minute ago. Money freedom buys your time freedom, so you can do what you want. Money freedom buys time freedom, gives you relationship freedom. I've got relationships over 50 years old that I totally trust, work with, and love and like and respect and admire, that we communicate with on a regular basis. And then that buys you your thinking freedom, so you can be passionately on purpose about something that's meaningful to you, that's going to make a significant quantum difference, an exponential difference, because you're here exponentially. I'll finish with this, as I said a second ago, is 2, the sperm and the zygote got together. Now you're 100 trillion cells. Your heart beats at 72 beats a minute. You multiply that out 365 years, that is 37 heartbeats a year. That's exponential. You plant an apple seed, it becomes an apple tree with 1 million apples during its lifetime. It can make an apple orchard, and we could feed humanity apples. There should be no shortage of anything. Bucky would say that we just haven't designed the planet right to take care of the 8 billion, which we can easily host 12 billion, and Elon Musk says 20, because we know more stuff now than ever before. If we have, back to number one, the want, if we ask ourselves, how do we do it? Your mind can't ask anything teleological without finding the answer. And I've got lots of answers to lots of cool stuff. So, and it's not a distribution problem. We got stupid people breaking down bridges and that and stopping distribution, somebody wrote, because there is sufficiency when there's sufficient thinking. We don't have sufficient thinking going around. That's why this course is so important. We need to focus on, Bucky would call it divine science, design science. Okay, with that, I'll open it up to questions.
Okay, so thank you so much. So very quickly, I just wanted to say thank you for that. That is such a great explanation. And what I like to do is I like to invite you to a Fridays with Doria, which is an event that we do where we can talk for an hour, 90 minutes, because I just want to go over with you, because the plan has already been designed. It would only cost about $60 billion to eradicate hunger on the planet, but I added 40 billion because, you know, things always cost more and they take longer. And we already had an example with Ted Turner, who contributed $1 billion to the UN and created the UN Foundation. Can't remember how long ago. Somebody Google it and tell me, 20, 25 years ago.
But Ted Turner demanded that he ran it and didn't let idiot government guys run it, because they've never run a business. They don't know how to run a philanthropy, and they don't know how to run the UN.
But still, you remember but the part that I wanted to say about Ted Turner, I know that's a whole other story, but even billionaires need installments, right? So if he paid 100 million for 10 years, right? He did pay that 100 million. And so all I'm saying is that the answers are already there, but let's have that conversation at another time, because it is so good. And I know that our thinking is so similar. So, and I just want to make sure, though, that let's open it up with some of the other people. Let's bring them back up. Because what we have here is, I wanted for you to meet real Bergen Doyle, and because she's actually our promoting partner in Australia and New Zealand. And so I wanted to just have her have an opportunity. Can you all mute yourselves, please? There's somebody making a lot of noise. Thank you. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to just have the opportunity to be able to ask you the question. And this is going to be part of your audience now, of your conversation about leadership and money. So it's a combination of the two. I know you can do it, but go ahead. What would you like to connect with Mark about? You are on mute, I believe.
Sorry. Nice to meet you. Nice to be here, everyone. Thanks for having me, Doria, and nice to meet you, Mark.
Nice to meet you.
A funny story from 100 years ago. I have a mobile number for you in my phone. And I have no idea. I think we met back when I did Money and You in the very early 90s, somewhere along the way. So I just sent you a text to see if it still works. So say hello if it does.
Well, by the way, I'll look and see if it does. I got to tell you that I love Australian and Aussies, and do a lot of shows and a lot of Aussies when I did not get it. So wait a second. Hey, I did get it. You're a six. Yeah. I haven't changed it.
Okay,
Cool.
stay on purpose, Real B. We got to keep going.
So I guess from my perspective, I was lucky and blessed to do Money and You in 1992 at the ripe old age of 22 years old. I'm a lot older than that now, and I have used what I got from Money and You in every aspect of my life. Pretty much every accomplishment I could put down to something I learned at Money and You. I once raised $1.8 million in 2 weeks using a strategy I learned at Money and You. I created a non-profit foundation for teenage kids to inspire them about entrepreneurship and business, most of whom were underprivileged in my audience. I grew that to 3 countries, and we impacted just under 20,000 teenagers. So, and then business endeavors, everything I've done.
has really come down to what I learned at Money and You. And for me, Money and You was a double piece. One was my parents had just not long broken up, and it was awful. And I thought there was just, I was in the world of, there's something wrong with me, there's something wrong with life, and I got that complete at Money and You. And I also learned enough to start my first business with $1,100 to my name 6 months after I graduated, which I then successfully sold a few years later for a lot more than $1,100. So I have, really been blessed all of my life with these principles and learnings, and my husband and I were on that ship in Antarctica with Jeff and Donna and Doria, and came back to talking about processional effects, came back to Australia and New Zealand with the rights to run Money and You here and all of the rest of the curriculum, and we've been doing that since 2015. Made it through COVID of being shut for 2 years and 2 months, but here we are still going. And I will say the other thing that Money and You makes available is that I work with people to grow their businesses significantly. So say a $100 million business, I'm taking them to $500 million, $20 million business, taking them to 100. All of my clients go through Money and You, and I actually think it is the special sauce to them being able to move what they move in the short period of time that we work together to get those kind of results. I'm talking moving those kind of numbers in a year to 2 years. It's significant. And I really think it's the secret sauce of Money and You and the other programs that actually helps them work with me to do that. So, and it is a leadership conversation. I love what you said, Mark, about you have to lead yourself before you can lead anyone else. And then you said, oh, that's pretty basic, everyone. But fundamentally, it's ultimately what we talk about at Money and You, right, is the premise is personal responsibility. And I guess I translate that into personal leadership and how you lead yourself and others in the world to make the difference you're committed to making. So I love your 4 financial freedoms. I wondered if you could say a little bit more about those.
I could, but let me just do it from an objective point of view, from my point of view. I've been to Australia 12 times with my wife a couple of times. Anyhow, we love Australia and Aussies. What I don't love is the fact that your government is going socialistic, because there's only of the 3 basic systems. Capitalism, which is, I'm a flaming capitalist, and I believe, because I'm an American, that you got to add the constitutional capitalism with free enterprise, and now you got an invincible government. But socialism, fascism, communism have all been tried, tested, and don't work. And your country is starting to lean that way. So everyone needs to be hearing the messages that you're putting out there and in New Zealand, because in case you don't know it, I've seen it for the last 2 decades. The big bad wolf, which is China, which is drastically imperialistic, wants to take over all those vast resources in a continent 2/3 bigger than America. And the beauty of your country and then the beauty of the Kiwis in New Zealand, we got to prevent that. And the only way to prevent that is if people understand capitalism allows you to have sovereignty of your soul, mind, heart, and body. And unfortunately, if you don't believe that, China has 30 million slaves right now making Nike shoes, which I'm opposed to slavery. We ended it in 1865, theoretically, in America. But anytime people are weak and don't understand why they got to support capitalism, we're in a lose-lose. I hope I haven't offended anyone's political territory. If I have, TS.
Well, what we'd like to do is stay with the leadership conversation and move on to some of the other people, because they've been waiting for a while. Thank you, Real B.
Thank you all for waiting.
So thank you so much. What I wanted to do is let me just go ahead and go to our Spanish language leading instructor. So I wanted you to meet Alias, and that he is from Venezuela, but has lived in the United States, has lived around the world, and now lives in Australia. Alias, just anything you would like to share?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Doria. Nice meeting you, Mark, a privilege. What I like to share is the fact that Money and You, I've attended Money and You 3 years ago, and the shit has been short of I don't know how words to express it, but from the very beginning of the program, the instructor said something that I never really understood until the end of the program. And he said, that human beings are the happiest when they learn something. And I heard that at the time, and I said, okay, I've learned a lot over my life because, like I said, I just did it recently 3 years ago, and I'm going to turn 50 this year. And I said, yeah, I've learned a lot, but I'm not necessarily overly happy. And then through the program, I felt the value of the experiential learning. And I walked out of the program with a huge list of principles that I needed to explore in depth. But if I was to reduce it to 2 of them, it would be, and it's been mentioned already around this conversation, which I love, is the fact that there's no scarcity in this world. It's all abundance. And the second element is responsibility, as in personal responsibility. So tying this back to the leadership conversation, what leadership means to me is the best attitude, the best vehicle, the best identity, if you will, to create a life that you want. And that is a responsibility, that is my responsibility, and that is everyone's responsibility. But then, and that ties perfectly with the self-leadership, right? Element of coming from within. That's the starting point, and that's what I realized. But I also realized that I don't have to do that by myself. I don't have to take everything on by myself. So that's where the stacking of the many principles that you learn in Money and You became very valuable to me. Is the leverage, is the synergy, is the collaboration, is the allowing others to love and support me. I don't have to do it by myself. And also, I don't have to do it just for myself. I can do it for everybody else. So my background is I'm an engineer. I left the corporate world after 15 years. I traveled the world, 6 countries in 20 years. Landed here in Australia, and I said, I want to do something different. So I got distracted and ended up back in the energy sector working as an engineer. But eventually I realized 3 years ago, after when I knew that I needed to really double down in what I wanted. And what I wanted is to create something that was aligned with my purpose. So again, that question of what do I really want that Mark pointed to, it resonates a lot. What do I want? And I'm still fine-tuning that. But I'm with courage, which is another principle, stepping into it. And today I've developed a program that is called Financial Freedom with Purpose, because it's not about the money. The money is good. The money is a vehicle that is needed. So leadership is the starting point. Money, the way I see it, is an expansion tool, right? It's a magnifier, of course, and it's needed. It's not the most important thing, but there's no reason to not have it. So it's about financial freedom with purpose. Yes, the money, the financial freedom, but it's about the purpose. So I love what Mark said about the 4 freedoms, because that tied into that element for me. The beginning, the first freedom being the money, and the ultimate freedom being the purpose and the impact and the contribution that we make, because that is the reason that I see for life. And as a leader, that has to be my responsibility, and not from the point of view of a blame responsibility, not from who's at fault or what's to blame, but the responsibility from the point of leading from a commitment to making something better, which ultimately is going to make this world better. So that's my view on it.
Right. First, I agree with everything you say. And the point is, each of us needs to get so much financial freedom that we can make the world work. You, as a multi-language person, ultimately, we got to bring it back to even Venezuela and all of Latin America, because there's 500 million people. Demographics was big for Bucky, and he said the goal for each of us, and I nominate all of you to participate, is a grail you, so to speak, like Bucky did me, is how do we make the world work for 100% of humanity, making all of us physically, economically, and spiritually successful, whatever that means to us, right? It could be a little bit or a lot. That's not the point, but there's enough for everybody for the first time in human history, thanks to technology. And the technology is booming. And I'm not saying be in technology. You can be in a boring, bland old business and start aggregating and making a fortune. So I don't care where you make your fortune, but there's what we wrote in 1 Minute Millionaire, there's a million ways to make a million. There's one right, perfect, easy, acceptable way to every individual. And that includes people that are ADD, ADHD, special needs, handicap, all that. So we're in a unique time in history where we can elevate all of us to higher levels and then elevate our consciousness. So bravo, and thank you for coming out of Venezuela. And I hope you send letters back and videos back to get all those people understanding there's more than enough in Venezuela and we got to quit having riots and stuff. And I know I shouldn't do anything political, DC said, so I'll drop that. Yeah.
You're on mute, Doria. You're on mute.
DC?
You're still on mute.
Sorry. Thank you so much, Alias. Thank you so much for being with us. And what I want to do is, before you need to go, Mark, I just wanted to very quickly, we have some very important people here. Dr. Serge Wavel, he is my executive director of my foundation, which for all intents and purposes, I haven't truly launched yet. I'm the only one financing it. And it's a whole other story. We are doing something else for right now, but we're going to be paying quite a bit of attention to the foundation in the next few months and things. And what I wanted to do was I just wanted for you to meet Dr. Serge Wavel. Dr. Serge, you want to say anything to Ken?
Hello, Mark.
Excuse me, to Mark.
Nice to meet you, Dr. Serge.
A pleasure meeting you. I really enjoyed your 4 principles. Very simple, straightforward, and I think a lot of viewers today will appreciate that. So thank you very much for being with us. Just one quick question to you.
Sure.
Is about abundance, poverty, hunger. My belief is that it is not a resource issue. It's not a distribution issue. It's not a technical issue. It is a human race issue. I don't know if you understand.
Totally agree. It's the old oligarchs that are going to disappear, because with all this information freedom, for the first time, a lot of us are getting the true information. We're saying, hey, wait a second, nobody should be poor. This is absurd that anybody is into any level of have-notness, because there's more than enough for all of us, and we waste more food than we need to, and we have plenty of good distribution if we want to use it. There are plenty of people that can figure that out. We have a school here at ASU and GCU, right where I live here in Scottsdale, Arizona, and Phoenix Metroplex, and they've got Crystal and I've sat at different meals with people that do supply chain management, and we're doing a book with a guy who is the biggest trader in Asia. He, back in 1965, had graduated Thunderbird, the biggest trading school in the world, right here in Scottsdale Metroplex, and went to Asia when there were ox carts. His name is Merle Heinrich, and he helped build companies like Toyota by writing magazines. He went to Sony. He went to Samsung in Korea, and just that. And they bought a little bit of stock in each one, so he's really well off. But we're doing his book because we need more trade, not less. And to use a spiritual antecedent, Solomon never had a war around him because he had 20,000 Phoenician ships out doing business, 12,000 chariots doing business. And what he did is he orchestrated, he asked God, make me the wisest man in the world. And on top of that, he got fame and riches and promotion and some stuff he didn't want. But the fact of the matter is, I expect he didn't want, but the fact is, he got trade working so no one has to go to war, which is exactly what Money and You does. Is if we have this collaboration, there's more than enough, and we start to do business and trade. Money is infinite, like the infinite sign, and we can go forward, Serge. So I am very thankful that you see all that.
Well, I look forward to have you with Doria there on Fridays with Doria. Doria, one thing I'd just like to add, about 30 seconds here. I did an experiment today, and I'm thinking the whole time I was listening to all the leaders here and all that, okay, what can I say about money and leadership? So one experiment I did today that was mind-blowing. Here it is. I looked at my notes that I took 20 years ago at Money and You, and I wrote down all the key elements of leadership and money that they were related to together. And then, just for fun, I went to ChatGPT. For if anyone of you doesn't know what ChatGPT is, it's like the AI portal, basically, to have the knowledge of the planet that has been put together to tell you what's going on today, the latest information, etc. Anyway, I don't want to get into those details, but I asked AI, I said, what are the 10 most important considerations a leader should take when it comes to money at work, at home, for nonprofit entity, etc. So that's today. I did that, and 8 of the 10 top that AI came were exactly what I've learned at Money New 20 years ago. I could put the list there in the chat or something. If anyone is interested to know those 8, I'll be happy to share it with you. But I was blown away. I said, "Holy smoke!" That's been 20 years ago. We were learning that, and AI finally is making it knowledgeable to the rest of the planet. So, thank you,
Hey,
Doria.
ChatGPT is actually a Money and You graduate. Woohoo! Hey, why don't you list it in? Go to Facebook, go to Los Angeles Tribune and put it in the comments. We would love to see it. We would love to
Okay,
see it.
yeah, I will do
Thank
that.
you so much. So before I just want to make sure that we catch some people here before they need to go. And Ken, I'm going to leave you a little bit to the, I wanted Mark and Ken to kind of connect for a minute, Ken Honda, for a minute there. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to just give
Good to see you,
Jennifer,
Ken.
he hasn't had an opportunity to say anything yet. Jennifer Hoff, what say you? What, I mean, so exciting to have you, and with her mind and her gift. Go ahead, Jennifer.
I love the discussion. It's fantastic. So, I did want to share one of the greatest things about Money and You, Doria, is that my husband and I did it together, and my husband had been struggling with his relationship to money and abundance and prosperity and all of those things for a very long time. And after Money and You, I think one of the benefits for us was that we could speak the same language. And in being able to speak the same language, there was an overflow that started showing up because there was fluidity, there was flow. I live my life totally according to the principles of precession. And I didn't even know who Buckminster Fuller was until Money and You. And I got to say that hearing the words just spoke to my soul. I feel like Buckminster Fuller has to be one of my guides. That concept comes into all of our work. And so now what's happening is this, and Mark, it's interesting because what comes up when I hear you speak is the word generosity. And what's happened to Adam and I is that there's incredible generosity. And in that space, we've been approached about 3 years ago by someone who wanted to do a project that involved buying up massive amounts of the Amazon rainforest using hundreds of millions of dollars. And then we were approached recently by the gentleman who started Earth Day to create a project that, it just came out of I just got a call, and I thought, my life being used by that purpose, being dreamt by a bigger dream, just because I decided that would be okay. It has just been an incredible blessing. But I notice that as soon as I switched as soon as I understood money through Money and You, and started paying it forward in my business and to my clients, and everything started to open up. And I just, much like Ken Honda teaches, there's just this ridiculous thank you. So I'd love to hear your perspective on generosity.
Well, I wrote a whole book on it, and then we'll go to Ken, but called Miracle of Tithing. And businessmen who don't know any better say, "What's a miracle of tithing?" And I said, "You haven't been tithed enough lately." And basically, I teach 5 T's. First of all, you got to be thankful for everything, good and bad. Second of all, you got to tithe your thinking. Everybody wants to go to the 5th one, which is your treasures. But no, you tithe your thinking, and then that gets your tithing your time and your talent, then your treasure. It's that simple. And then generosity booms. And the reason I've sold more books than anyone ever in the world in nonfiction, according to Guinness Book of Records, is that we tithe in every book, and we decide who we're going to gift to before. And the good news is that in the book business, we believe and teach the long tail, which, books that I wrote 50 years ago are still selling, making money, and we're taking care of organizations. Like the one we're big on right now is Child Help, which we've helped 12 million kids get out of abuse, neglect, and trafficking. So it's, and it's headquartered here in Scottsdale, and 2 little 90-year-old women. And my little publishing company said to the 88-year-old head of it, Sarah O'Mara, you're a supernatural healer. We got to do a book called Healed in her church, which only meets once a month here in Scottsdale. So if you're ever here and need a real healing, she's got that divine juice. Anyhow, she says, not me, it's God. But the point is, she does miraculous healings, gets people over cancer, like that, tuberculosis, all kinds of cool stuff. But we did her little book called Healed. You can get it at Amazon now. But it just has gone bonkers because of her generosity. And I just see more in everybody. When you open up that generosity thing by studying Money and You take off the blinders and you get to see what's possible in the world, what you can really do. With that, let's go to Ken. How's that?
All right, go ahead. Ken, what would you like to share?
Thank you. I'm so happy to see everyone here, and hi, I'm so happy to be here. So I have taught this idea of happy money. Happy money makes you smile when you receive it and when you spend it. So I'm writing a book on future on money. So I wonder what your take on that. I want to ask Mark about how you envision the future of money. After the greed just probably destroys part of our capitalism in a sense that we cannot sustain what we have right now. So after the new generation, maybe 10 years from now, do you see any possible future of money in your own sense? I'm just very curious about that.
By the way, that is a lovely question. And I think we could spend hours on it, but I think the future of money is there's going to be more circulating than ever before in history, because there's more circulating now than yesterday and 10 years ago and 20 and 50 and 100 and 1,000 years ago. And we're going to have new aspects of money. Of course, we're going to have, during my lifetime, credit cards have only been around for 30 years, which is sort of amazing because some of us think they've been around forever. Well, the cell phone's only been around about 15 years, and now it's going through iterations of change. And for the first time, you've got my hero, and I've done a lot of YouTube videos you can watch on Elon Musk, who's got $8 billion companies. And he's saying, hey, wait a second. Look, here's what 100% potential is. And most of you are down here. You're living, well, I ought to go get a job and a minimum wage and earn 50 or 150 or 250 grand a year. And you have a job, you're just over broke. I say get a real MBA and not go to business school, but go build a business or work with somebody who's building it. And second in command at a lot of businesses, like at Apple Commuter, you got Tim Cook, who is worth $100 billion, but the company's worth $3 trillion after Steve Jobs died. So I think there's going to be more money, more people make more money, more people do more good with money than ever before. And we got a lot of, you all know the law of polarity, and in Asia, Ken would teach you that yin and yang is crisis equals opportunity. Well, we're at the biggest time with the most crises in the world. And so what does that mean? It means we got the most opportunity, but opportunity always comes with work clothes. It means you got to roll up your sleeves and go to WORK, which comes before success in real life, but not in the dictionary. And I don't know how to answer it, Ken, say that we got to get everybody to understand what you said, the happiness of money, but the joy of work. I mean, at 70, I haven't had to work since I was 30, but I love doing what I'm doing, and I plan to live to be 127 with options for an oil because I'm in peak health. And when Money and You would teach that when you have a high quality of life, you want to have a high quantity of life. Now, if you have a crappy life, why want to live even 10 minutes more? And you got all those idiots that are rich, and I can name them, but I know DC will go crazy if I name who I don't like. But, they're saying, well, the population should be 500 million. You can watch these idiots on YouTube. No, you're not God. God made 8 billion, so you must be okay with it. And we have a population decline, not a population incline right now. And I can talk to all that. So we actually need more people, just like Elon Musk and I are saying. And our family, we have 5 kids, 6 grandkids, but we'll have 12 before the game's over because our kids are still having kids. And so are all my brothers and their families. And Crystal's 1 of 9, I'm 1 of 4. So I'm really keen on big families. I know that isn't what your question was, but as you have big families, every time you have a new kid, it's going to cost now $500,000 each. Somebody's got to go out and earn, create, and contribute at a level they haven't done before, because nobody should be saprophytic on a governmental system. I'll stop there.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And thank you for behaving, Mark. You're so good. So just a couple more. We got to go to Marco. Marco is one of the most beautiful Singaporeans.
Yes.
And he has a real estate education business. He has over 1,000 members in there. But what I love about it is that they're supporting a lot of the Singaporeans, even though there's no poverty in Singapore. There are people that still are not reaching their dreams, and he uses real estate to support small business people. And he brings lots, and sometimes a third, half of the people in Money and You are recommended by Marco. So he is like a great ambassador for us. And I know that he hasn't had a chance to share. What about you, Mark? What say you about leadership and money, and a question that you may have to Mark?
Well, if you want to be a leader, you have to take lessons. I was enrolled into Money and You by my business partner in 1998 when our countries were going through one of the major crises, the Asian financial crisis. And subsequently, after learning Money and You, I wound up the business. It went bankrupt. And then I went to work for others, but the lessons in Money and You never stick. Until I hit my midlife crisis, and I went back to Money and You for review, and that's where I go back a lot more often. And slowly in my head, the lessons start to connect the dots, and I form Marco and Friends with my partners. Today, we are one of the biggest in education. We help many people create multiple streams of income so they can get out of inflations. Our country, like US, also needs a lot more people, and we're importing a lot because our guys are not producing fast enough. Yes. And with a fixed land size and population increase, we are going to make properties price goes up. And so with Money and You lessons, we created a community. We sent a lot of our members there for new classes. That's why we go by the bus loads every time when it happens. And I'm going by the bus again next week. I'm looking forward to reconnecting, refresh memories, take the old lessons, put them in front, how to leverage, how to find niche, where is the lag, how to synergize, how to create a bigger group. Money and You not only saved my marriage life, my family life, it also saved my financial life. And I've seen that happen to many people that we have sent. It's magical, man. It's magical. I'm so grateful that in the world there's Money and You, because I can't imagine my success without Money and You won't be as great. So yes, the many lessons that we learned there, and the many friends that we make there, and the many realignment of all the lessons again, that helps me live a better life. Thank you, DC, for arranging this. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Any question for Mark? Would you like to ask a question to Mark?
From Marco?
For Mark. For Mark. Mark Victor Hansen.
Mr. Hansen, your book has always been inspiring. I really hope to meet you in person one day. If you ever do a master class in US, let me know. I'll be more than happy to put my schedule aside, and I would love to get on the plane and be with you for a few days.
Well, thank you, Marco. We're going to do that again. I've been to Singapore a gazillion times. Matter of fact, the most extravagant mansion, I got to spend one night there. The Wrigley Mansion, the guys who did chewing gum during the Depression and made a penny a stick of gum. He had a house there, and we stayed at that house. And we stayed at a different time at the Mars Candy House, which is just all marble and just beyond exciting. I love Singapore. For those of you who haven't been to Singapore, it's one of those great places to go. And if you're ever going to go to the Maldives or somewhere else, you got to go through Singapore. So it's an exquisitely exciting, wonderful place. Senior Minister Lee took this downtrodden country that wasn't making it and made the boulevards have flowers, brought in culture, and I don't know what's happening now, but they saved 15% of the money so everybody basically can retire a millionaire, which is pretty minimalistic there. But everybody needs the Money in You, because it doesn't matter if there's a lot of money outside until you get money in your brain with the Money in You course. You can't see the money out there and you can't earn it and create it and claim your share of it. So Money in You is a mandated course in my mind. So Marco, thanks for getting all those people in, and congratulations. And let's tenfold it from 1,000 to 10,000. And I don't remember what the population of Singapore is off the top of my head, but let's get every Singaporean to learn the principles, philosophy, and precepts of Money in You, and how they can overcome all their problems. So like you, they can keep their marriages stuck together, keep their business stuck together, their health, happiness, and future together.
Thank you so much. Wow, that was amazing.
One
Well,
last
now,
question, if you could, please, DC.
excuse me?
Just do one more question. I've got to depart, I'm afraid.
Of course, we're going to give it to Maria because Maria, she actually had very little time a little bit early, and we had her come back. So, Maria, what say you? What would you like to ask? I know you're going to see Mark next week, but
Well, we have a mutual friend, our business partner, Patrick, is having a soiree in Scottsdale. So I don't know if we'll see you this week,
Cool.
Mark.
The one on the 18th?
Yes.
By the way,
So-
for those of you that don't know, here in Scottsdale, we've just built a $2 billion hotel. They bought the name from Caesars, and they call it Caesars Republic. And one of my guys that we're doing books with has invited Crystal and I, and we get to be the honored guest speaking. And it will be quite an event as the opening of this $2 billion hotel. And because that got done, we're building another couple. It's sort of Arizona is the head of data centers in America, because while we're a desert, we have smart people here, and I'm going to make us the literary capital of the world. I mean, it's the literary capital started in Greece, obviously went to London, went to Boston, went to Silicon Valley. It's coming here, and I'm leading it right now, so I'm very happy. But that will be one of those meetings where I told you I'm thinker 3.0, whereas Alexander the Great was 1.0. He created all the information in one place called Alexandria, Egypt. Then you had my hero. I talked about Andrew Carnegie, created libraries for the world. And then I'm 3.0. I'm going to get books to 8 billion people, which is, I told you, you got to ask for what you want and have big, audacious goals that are impossible to do. If you can do your goal, it's not a goal. It's not even worthwhile. If you say, well, I just want a new car. Well, hell, everybody on this call is old enough to have probably bought a car at one time or another.
That's great. Well, this is wonderful. It's wonderful to see you. I'm glad I'm going to see you this week. I had two real quick things I want to say.
Sure.
And it's so perfect because it goes along with Ask and Money and You. And I just want to make a very profound observation. It happened so fast. Real, when you were, one of the great things about Money and You, well, okay, when you start asking, right, the biggest thing that we have to learn, I think, and you said this in your book, is you've got to be more curious. Instead of saying, I can't do that, how am I going to do that? Or, no, that's not for me. You really, once you get into the flow of just asking how, and start asking for what you want, everything shows up. Because as you know, the thoughts start in your subconscious. And so as soon as the subconscious thought starts, the universe brings you everything you need. And so I love the reminder to just keep asking, because everyone is in your conscious. And you really need that. When you go to a program like Money and You, all of a sudden you're transformed. You start asking more. You see what's possible. And the access to the people that you need is very profound. Real just held up her phone a little while ago and said, hey, you're in my cell phone. This is someone, like ordinarily Mark wouldn't have been in her orbit. And this happens all the time. And I just wanted to acknowledge you, Doria, for, the magic that you created the event, and just really for all of us just showing up. And the other thing is I want to give you some credit to that. So you've always been in my ear for years. And during COVID, my partner and I wanted to really tackle the housing crisis, and we started a tiny home manufacturing company, and we're now one of we're just growing so fast. But
You're out Buckeye? Is that right? Goodyear.
We're in Goodyear. You're gonna have to come to our factory soon. It's
I know one of your leaders, and
Gail and Patrick is part.
Yep.
Well, we founded that during COVID, and our first 2 days in business, we took in over 17 orders in 2 days. It was over $1 million in business, and we've been growing since then. But the real thing is, not just providing a solution to housing, but now we want to build the communities. And just to give you a really quick example, how it can happen, it's like, this is a big, hairy, audacious goal. How are we going to solve this housing crisis? Well, we've said there's a lot of rundown RV parks around the country, and people can't live where they work. And so what if we just start buying up old RV parks and create tiny home communities? And so now that's starting to happen. But when we do the numbers, we're like, well, it still has to be profitable so we can help more people. So we're not afraid to make the money so we can circulate it back into the community. And we intended on having solar and all of that. Well, we realized, oh, wow, it's not just about putting solar. We have to if we build a solar farm, then we can create this whole energy grid for the whole community, sell it to the community, and then we can charge lower rents in our parks. And
Right.
so all of
You're
a
the
sudden,
utility. Yep.
yeah, exactly. And so we've been looking at different solutions, and literally within 48 hours, we met one of Elon Musk's former partners. He formed the Tesla Foundation. He's responsible for creating all these energy grids, and he's doing EV and all of that. And so now we have partners. I mean, literally this just happened within a few days of really digging in, saying, wow, we have to build the whole grid. We had the solution show up. And not just that, you mentioned data centers. And then we attracted, someone who's building data centers. Is like, well, why don't we build the data centers in your park? So that gives you additional revenue streams. And so I don't know how to do this stuff, but it's just the fact that you just hold a space for being in the query. Just keep asking and allowing the answers to show up for you. So thank you for mentioning your book. I'd love to live in that space. It was really brought home to me at Money and You many, many years ago. I thought I lived there, but now I'm really, living there. And so it's great to see you. I can't wait to see you this week. And I hope to join you in some of your
That's
projects.
on Thursday night. Yeah, that's close.
Yeah, that's great. So thank you, Doria. Thank you, everyone.
Well, I may have to go now that I know about this detail. She is wanting me to go all the way. Oh, okay. I may want to go. So I may see you on Thursday, Mark.
All right, good.
Mark, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you all for being patient.
Any last words that we can give to thank you to Mo and Ava and Alicia of the Los Angeles Tribune. Any last words to them about leadership?
Yeah. Leadership is about influence, and the big biography we have, on this side, Reverend Ike, a man of influence, he got me out of bankruptcy and into riches. And if that's because you're all reading Money and You, I mean, he was a supernatural healer, but he also had 16 Rolls Royces and 8 mansions and all that. But he really got me to think right, talk right, act right, live right, so you can be what you want to be, do what you want to do, and have what you want to have. And he came up with that great line, which I've quoted: "The best thing you can do for the poor is not be one of them." If you haven't read the book about Reverend Ike that I didn't ghost. I wrote it with his son, Xavier Ike, encoder. It will wow your soul, I promise. Doesn't matter what color you are. This guy really made more millionaires than anybody, and then I think we've done that in ours. So, but I want everyone to take Money in You. It's one of those things I give the Mark Victor Hansen seal of approval on, just like the Good Housekeeping seal of approval, because you all are doing so good, and I'm proud of each and every one of you and all the future progeny and generational wealth people you're going to create. So on behalf of all the future people, back to Ken Honda's question, they're going to thank you in their prayers, and they don't even know you exist, some of them, 500 years from now, because you're taking this course, changing your mind and changing generational wealth in your family, getting rid of poverty, illness, sickness, and having the penultimate of health, happiness, joy, success, prosperity, and money.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You are free to go. We'll see you in a little bit, and we're just going to start wrapping it up. But Carol Dice, I'm sure, wants to wave and say hello. And so we are almost done. And so Carol Dysart, you didn't have a chance to share a little bit earlier. Have you been inspired today? I mean, you've been with us the longest, since 1980. Anything? Oh, she went off the...
Wait, I hit the wrong button here. Okay,
there you are. Okay. Anything you would like to share before we go?
Yes, I needed to tell people a couple things. When Marshall was asked, why did you call this Money in You, when he was the original inventor of the course? He said, well, it's really about leadership in you. It's about love in you. It's about relationship in you. But it's really, bottom line, if you don't have the money in you handled, you've got to start somewhere there. And that is why. And he said the topic of money was going to be popular for everybody. So it was a marketing idea too, but he really got that it is about you. And we all know as graduates, it's all about you. I just want to point out that as you listen to everybody today, they all had a slightly different angle on what they saw leadership as. And I want to remind you all that in the program, those of you that haven't come, you'll be getting a game that you get to see how all 4 of the key styles of behavior that all of us have all of in us, but we use some more than others because it's easier for us, or more natural, or it's our interest. But everybody, the leader has to know the style and the needs, emotions, and fears, which are the emotional part of people's behavior that drives their behavior. When you know that, you lead differently to those kind that need bottom line quick results. And you lead another way when you have people that need lots of hugs or warm appreciation and knowing. And you'll notice Doria is always appreciating people. So she comes out with this beautiful, inspirational, and influential style. And yet she's a bottom line girl results. And she's also got the compliance to rules detail about her. So she's a nitpicky, detailed, brilliant businesswoman. So whatever we're missing, which you can't be all four at the same time, is important to surround yourself with. If a leader hires only people that are just like them, they're going to have a very lopsided team. And I met one of the investors that came to Money and You, and he brought 8 people. Remember, Doria, from Panama. And this company, this investor had $42 million to invest in this programming company. But he called me later. He said, I just want you to know, I couldn't invest in these people because all 3 leaders were the same style. They were all cautious, conservative. Nobody wanted to make decisions. Nobody wanted to hire or fire. Nobody wanted to make sales on that leadership team. And they had missed the whole point of you need to have a balanced team. So you will have the gift of this in Money and You. You will see it. And before you lose your money in any other endeavor because you had no idea how you operate, how you make decisions, how you like or don't like certain things about what you have to do, if you don't understand that, you're at the risk of the cost of those habits that you have. At Money and You, you get your profile done. That's my job. I've been doing this. Thank you, Doria. You met me the first time in 1980, and I came to Money and You, and you said, what? You do disc? You can get Money and You profiles for us? And I've been supplying them all over the world since then. So it's been a real gift, a real treat to have you as a BFF, Doria, and all of the rest of you that have been here on the show. It's so great to see you all again and connect. And I really want to look and talk to all of you soon. But have a great time and lead with compassion of each person's style. And you'll be able to do what Jessica just told you to do earlier this morning or this afternoon, was have an attitude, have an environment where everybody feels accepted, included, fun, and they're not all going to generate it that way. So you have to know the style of each person, and that's what I do, and I'm there to coach and mentor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carol. We love you so much. Love you, love you, love you. So many people have wanted me to replace DISC. They have taken me out to dinner. They have treated me to weekends in the most amazing places. And I tell them that it has to do with culture. You know, you can go anywhere in the world and say, hey, what is your DISC profile? And people know it, except in Japan where it's not allowed. It's an interesting thing. Well, we have to handle Japan. Anyway, so
I'm working with Laura, so we're going to have a Spanish disc aficionado. She's working side by side with me, and she'll be able to be our disc.
Oh, I know that. I'm not worried about any other language. Thank you. So we're going to finish up with. Sorry, did you?
That's it.
Oh, okay. So we're going to finish up with Jessica. Then we're going to go to our beautiful Barbie, and Aziza may want to say a word or last, and so we're almost finished up. But Jessica, your sharing earlier was so beautiful, and it was cut short because we were rushing there. But now we have a little time. What say you?
Well, yeah, money and leadership. This is such a big subject. You can't really compress it in 3 hours. You know, Mark said something really profound. I'm sorry he left the call earlier because I had a really important question to ask him. So maybe I'll pose it to everyone listening. All of us, everyone listening to this call, all of us on this live stream, there's a leader within us, within everyone. And back to my conversation about the biggest distinction I received out of Money and You was responsibility. That is a gift. It's our responsibility to find out what our divine plan in life is. What is it that lights us up? What are we built for so we can positively impact the world? What is our role in that? And that starts with the question, what do I want? And so I encourage everyone listening to this to start there. And, it's always been, my husband and I, we built, many companies, and thanks to Money and You, gave us all the tools to really make a big impact in that quest. We are very passionate about education. And the company right now, we're leading the charge with Legacy Live. It's a very innovative business model where we're building this global platform of connecting learners with expert educators in all the areas of real estate investing and financial literacy and trading and entrepreneurship and even biohacking. And we're doing that for a deeper purpose and mission to provide people the knowledge and tools they need to fulfill their divine plan in life. So this is really biggest joy for me to talk about, but I just want to leave that word of inspiration to everyone listening, is to step into your leadership role and find out what your true purpose is in life. And of course, go to Money and You so you can accomplish it.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you. And it's an honor to be part of Legacy Live and the Legacy, education platform. What an honor. And someday you guys were going to write a book about the story. It's such a, it's
right?
like
Such an interesting story. For you, it came full circle too.
Full circle. It's like, we'll just give you a very quick thing. The book, literally, we didn't know that it was going to be called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We didn't know that Sharon Lechter was going to be coming into our lives. We didn't know any of that. And this was in the 80s. I have been in this beautiful place that God provided for me many years ago, since the 80s, in Ocean Beach, with a total amazing view. And Kiyosaki was my business partner at the time. And it was like, okay, we have to have you write a book. And then we just began to really dream really big. And then we were working on clearing our deservability. And I was really supporting him. And I started calling him a best-selling author. And I'm sure when he went to one of the biggest events that he had in the United States was in, where's New York? The big, what is it called? The one with 18,000 people?
You're talking about Madison Square Garden?
Yes, Madison Square Garden, right? So when he went there, so I used to play for him in Money and Use and business schools. I used to play New York, and he'd go crazy. He's like, someday everybody's going to know your name, and it's like, and you're going to write this amazing book, and we're going to attract this person. And we literally, Sharon Lechter, short for how she looked, whether it was going to be a he or she. And so it was created around this kitchen counter, this dream, and all these things have occurred, and 36 million people, have bought the book, but many other things have occurred, and Rich Dad Education reached 900 million over 13 years, right? It's incredible. Yes. That's a lot of money. That's almost $1 billion, and that's way beyond sushi money. And long story. And then, of course, Robert retired from it, and other people retired from it. And the people that my beautiful Jessica and Jerry Conti are working with are people that acquired that. It's too long of a business story, but they have acquired. And even though the original people are all gone, the core of the teaching is there. And then I come around. They promoted Money and You in Southern California. And here we are on something that was created so long ago in the 80s on the kitchen table. So this is a little bit of a story. Just dream big. Allow yourself to have those dreams. Allow yourself to just create this hairy audacious. This is what we're all talking about here. The ability to be able to just create what Buckminster Fuller used to call artifacts that add the most value and wrap an economic engine around it. Whatever your life purpose is. And this is, I just want to make sure, go to moneyandyouddistinctions.com, moneyandyouddistinctions.com. That's my new program that's very short. It's like 3 hours of some of my favorite distinctions from Money and You. So we can get it out to the world much faster. And of course, Maria and Jessica are over the moon that I'm finally doing this. And well, everybody here actually. And because this particular program, and by the way, Marco, we're going to be doing it in Asia Pacific hours in the next few weeks so that people can go ahead and come and learn it instead of having to come in at 2 o'clock in the morning, the way that poor our beautiful Dr. Aziza had to get up. But it's like we need to get all these principles, all of our work combined, all of it. And part of creating the foundation is to have that be able to just the foundation is to be able to provide education. And you heard Victor Hansen talk about just like we just keep creating artifacts. We keep creating educational platforms. We keep creating tiny homes. We keep creating real estate, beautiful education like Marco, and keep creating what Aziza and everyone else here. We keep creating the Los Angeles Tribune platforms that they bring to the public free education to so many. So with that, we're going to go to Barbie. Barbie, you're the second to the last. What say you, Barbie?
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here. And this is kind of a marathon time. I've been part of the Los Angeles Tribune family since 2022. I'm proud of that. And one of the things that was really exciting is doing Money and You in 2022 in San Diego and having so many lifelong friends, where that led to Secret Knock, that led to, Dame Maria Simone, Jason and Jeremy, all of these beautiful things in the sense where you have the opportunity to be able to step into all of these mushrooms. And so what I found was so amazing is the fact that, like, for example, in 2021, I interviewed Ken Honda on my TV show, and then I ended up being an ambassador for his Arigato community, but then I didn't know that he was part of Money and You, and I didn't know that he was a grad. And all these people that are interconnected that are trying to solve world hunger, like Money and You grad David Dennis and all these other different people, where we're all pooling our resources together to be able to assist, to be able to be of help to humanity. And I know that's one of your cause celebs as well, Dave Doria. And it's like, what I love is the fact that by opening up this relationship with yourself and finding out what Money and You means to you, then from there you literally open up and blossom to you say yes to the next door that opens up to you, and then you go into this Zoom, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my goodness, I know this 40% of these people, I know that. And I seen Dame Doria, saw her in San Diego twice in the last couple of months with Secret Knock, and she had Chris Snook on live, which was amazing because he literally is in the forefront of pioneering robotics too, and she found out that he was a Money and You grad too. So it's like 250,000 plus people around the world that have had the opportunity to be able to understand a lot of these processes. And I would say my number one thing that I've learned, a sense of discernment that I never had before, of niceness versus assertiveness, and ultimately realizing that the whole concept of shark bait, that was a really, really big eye opener for me, because I also think that assertiveness is really, really important in regards to your relationship with money, as opposed to being nice and having people steamroll over you or take advantage. And Chris Snook talked about that with the billions of dollars that he has on your event on that last Friday, that there were lots of different places that had, businesses that went wrong or betrayals and things, but it's in a lot of ways better to have $1 million lesson than $100 million lesson. And I love listening to all the different entrepreneurs and different people that have done amazing things and that have come before us, and then they can tell us all of their lifelong lessons to be able to know where we can step out of that and not have to focus on those kind of lessons that we have to learn, to be able to shine our light. Because to me, I think leadership is one of the most important things, is for you to shine your authentic, true, pure, unadulterated light that nobody else can have. Everybody has their own energy frequency, and that's something that I think is really, really exciting, that when you get to shine that, you get to beam that out to the world, the rest of the world can kind of like collaborate, and you can outsource your weaknesses and find these collaborative groups, a team that end up being really, really beautiful.
Thank you so much. And you guys, thank you for hanging in there. I know you don't have to be here, but you're keeping me company. I mean, like Mark says, he hasn't worked since he was 30. I haven't worked either since I was 27. So it's just all such fun. And Dr. Aziza, wouldn't you know it that you would be closing us up? But before we close up, I just want to give a big shout out. Thank you. I hope that, Ava, I don't know, maybe you've gone home already, but I would love for you to close it up after our beautiful Aziza, and because you're a Money and You graduate too. So what say you? What say you, Aziza?
Thank you so much, Doria. Everybody's speaking on into this very important thing. that is about solving problem, and that's what Buckminster Fuller spoke to us about, right? How do what the question is, what is the problem to be solved that you see as a problem and nobody is seeing about it? And when we as graduates go out there, we are solving so many problems. And one of the things that I really got is like, you see problem everywhere and then you want to jump into solving problems, and that can become a problem too, because you end up not knowing what you're going to be doing with your life. So this is where, when we got into the space of doing Go Global, we started structuring it into businesses. So now we're so excited that we have groups of companies that's solving so many problems in the world that I would love to solve it by myself, but one person can't do it. That's why we leverage. And then that comes to a second point, that now in our community, there are so many beautiful leaders in Money and You Network solving so many beautiful problems. The next most important thing that Buckminster talked about is spontaneous cooperation. How can we create this strength in us, this leadership in us as leaders of solving individual problems, to come together in spontaneous cooperation, trusting the process, that we can create a better world together? I feel that that is the next leadership challenge that all our graduates can take on, so that we can come into spontaneous cooperation, creating structures and systems, and really coming out there in what we call in our Go Global space, that we have evolved into understanding conscious capitalism, a community that's self-sustaining across the world. It's not just about in Asia, it's not just about in the world, but coming together as a global community, focusing on problems and creating a proper structure around it. So I love it that we can take it on to the next level with this conversation. And I want to say thank you to Doria for saying yes to the community of Go Global and coming together with us in this journey. And I want to say that if not for your stand and the trust you had in for transformation of humanity, I would have been 6 feet underground, right? I would have been gone and buried in whatever way. So we need people, leaders who can stand for transformation together and grow together. And I want to say Money and You community is about that. And that's why we want to bring in as many people and get them to shift and get them to the clarity, like what Marco does. Get yourself into clarity of what you want to do with your life, and then we can work together. If you are not clear, we can't work with you. So this is what we are excited about. Thank you so much for the space and the beautiful people that's showing up today.
Yay. And last but not least, the power behind the power. Ava, thank you for letting us, letting us go through the beautiful Los Angeles Tribune. And, I got to show everybody, my beautiful, I'm part of this beautiful magazine. Now, some of you have not heard this, but, I grew up in LA. So I'm an LA girl. My family took me there when I was 12 years old. And the LA Tribune was this big thing, right? And so for me to be part of this and to be in the newspaper and have my ad in there and have my article about certificate in there, it's like, wow. So it's like I'm so anchored. So I feel like I'm a big girl now in the big newspaper. So Ava, what say you as we complete?
Well, Dame Doria, we are honored to host Money and You, leadership and money and leadership. They go together in the Los Angeles Tribune on behalf of our CEO, who's also a Money and You graduate. August of 2021 in San Diego. We're classmates together. We graduated together, and my husband too. We are so honored. We are so honored to host Money and You, Money and Leadership here in the Los Angeles Tribune. And what I can say as a graduate of Money and You, when I first came to Money and You, I had a lot of business investments. I invested a lot in myself, in my personal growth, and I carried a lot of shame. When I was answering the questionnaire coming into Money and You, the first question is, what is it that you want? And I didn't know how to answer it. I only answered it with what I don't want. Like, I don't want to be in shame anymore. I don't want to be afraid anymore. But coming to Money and You transformed my life. Transformed the way I think, the way I see things, the way I take risks. And as entrepreneurs, that's the first thing that we do, that we get to get comfortable with, is in taking risks and playing big and using our voice. And I've grown. I'm like Dame Doria, my proud mama, who always says, you have changed so much since I first saw you in Money and You. So I just wanted to really invite you. I am so grateful that we get the opportunity to show you what Money and You is all about, because There are over 250,000. You know, I mean, I think Dame Doria, you've stopped counting at 200,000 graduates, right? You've stopped counting, but there's over 250,000 graduates from all around the world. Many of them are now, simultaneously cooperating to make the world a better place. And we're proud in the Los Angeles Tribune that we're rooted in Money and You, that our principles are rooted in Money and You. And of course, Doria, I'm going to take this opportunity. One of the things that we talk about in Money and You is team. Systems, leverage, and team. And we will not be able to do what we do if not for the team that we have in the Los Angeles Tribune. Alicia Magnus Lewis, the champion of our systems, our business solutions, that's supporting entrepreneurs in really planning their businesses and strategizing around it. And of course, the whole team, graphics, videos, emails, texts, all of that. You know, that Dame Doria teaches that in Money and You, systems, leverage. So we're all applying that in LA Tribune. So Dame Doria, thank you.
Wow. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for keeping me company. I just love all my friends. Thank you. And I have people that are texting me and writing and everywhere. All my lovelies. Thank you very much. Hey, we keep going, right? No matter what happens, we keep going. Hopefully we won't need to have Money and Use in the next few decades. We'll just have them for fun, right? But I can actually really see Money and Use happening in Mars, in Neptune, and in other dimensions. So, we're going to be moving into the metaverse in the next few years. We're just going to grow, grow, grow. So thank you, everyone, for everything that you do. All my graduates, I don't want to get all emotional, but wow, every day somebody writes to me or tells me something that this program, remember, I did not create this program. I inherited this work. This work was created by Marshall Thurber and powered by Bobby DePorter. And I had the honor and the privilege of having gone to the first business school for entrepreneurs. I had a vision that this work had been designed and created for me. There's no way that I was ready. It took me a few years. It took me about 5 years to get to that level. And then when it looked like Money and You was going to disappear again, and the business school, I stepped in and went, not in my watch. So here we are, 45 years later for Money and You, 46 years later for the business school for entrepreneurs. So aloha, everyone. Thank you. Aloha. Bye, everyone.
Hello, bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune page. Here you will find original news programming, exclusive digital events, and shows that are directly from the community. At the Los Angeles Tribune, we believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. We are proud to be the only national brand to empower everyday people to make a difference. Since 1886, our reputation has been built on truth and responsibility. Thank you for watching and making a difference.
For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.